Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Great Lakes Esports Conference quarterfinals for League of Legends. We have the 4th and 5th seed going up against each other today, with Valpo going up against Tiffin, and we are here in the lovely game arena in Columbus, Ohio. My name is Cilantro, and I'm going to be play-by-playing for you today.
I am Swagmaster. I will be color casting for you as well.
But yeah, I'm excited. I've been monitoring both a lot of the teams throughout the GLEC throughout most of the season. I actually attend a GLEC school myself, so I've been monitoring some of the teams throughout most of the season as best as I can. So I know these two teams are pretty strong. I've seen Tiffin's roster in the past couple of years has been pretty strong, and I know that they are going to be pretty strong this year. Not really too much changes. Valpo's a little bit new to me, so I don't really know anything about them. I don't know if you do, if you'd want to speak on that, but yeah, I'm excited to get on the Rift today. Both teams I've been told are just about ready to start, so we shouldn't be too much longer.
I've just been here since 8:30 in the morning, so yeah. So Tiffin's actually been doing pretty good today across all boards. They've been doing very good in Valorant today. I expect the same outcome coming from League of Legends as well. We're getting into the champion bans right now. I'm currently waiting to see what kind of picks we'll have here on the floor.
Well, what's really strong in the meta right now is going to have to be the mid lane and bot lane. So I'm expecting things like Jinx bans and the Orianna Syndra bans to come out. I'm not too well versed in what each team has been scrimming lately, but that's what I'm going to be expecting. Valpo having the blue side, so they're going to get the first pick of the game, whereas Tiffin is going to have the last ban of the game, and Talia is going to end up being banned, which is essentially a flex pick. Can be that mid lane or can be in the jungle.
Nico ban for the Tiffin here. Nico's really good either as a support ADC or as a mid laner as well. Seems like we also have a Hecarim, a Cassiopeia, sorry.
Yeah, that Cassiopeia makes me believe that they're going to be leaning towards a little bit more of a scaling jungler on the Tiffin side, because if you want to run something like the Victor, Cassiopeia can shut that down pretty well. Renekton and Caitlyn bans, two very strong solo laners, but there's the Jinx, like I mentioned earlier, with her passive still going crazy in the bot lane. It's going to be a menace to have to deal with. And Tiffin opting for Jarvan. Jarvan has not fallen out of the meta since like patch 13.1. He's been meta forever, so very strong pick. So it's going to be looking like a counter dive comp might have to come out of Valpo here.
Seems like we also have a Sivir here with the J4. Wonder how that's going to play out. It's a very long range comp, especially Sivir. Sivir can easily hook people in and shoot from long ranges as well. Seems like they want to go for kind of a pokey kind of comp, looks like.
Well, yeah, the Sivir's going to press R when the Jarvan dives in, essentially, going to give him a little bit of boost of movement speed, and then she could, which I'm expecting more of a front line if they're going to go for the Sivir, so maybe something like the Ornn. Oh, the Ornn's actually going to be picked by Valpo, so maybe something like a Camille or something in the front line from Tiffin to sit in and make use of the Sivir ult so she could just spam Ws from behind. But really good Ornn pick here. This is great front line for the Jinx. The Jinx only needs one assist or kill in order to get her passive going, and actually can just snowball. So it's a really good, strong front line that's going to be coming out of Valpo here. I'm expecting maybe something like the Syndra in the mid lane. Could be an early third pick. We see mid lane pop up in the third pick lots of times in the meta right now. It's just a very strong lane. So usually laners want to get that prio pick early on. And I think Syndra could be something very strong if they decide to pick that here. Oh,
Sejuani. Very interesting pick here. Okay. Let's see what Tiffin has for that pick as well. Now, Sejuani is actually either more close range or long range.
Well, she's going to be definitely close range. She wants to pair up with this Ornn. So right now she's only got one melee laner. I could expect a engage support coming out in the bot lane here. Something like the Nautilus or the Thresh for the Jinx. Or even the Rel. Rel's not banned yet. Rel's on the board.
Mordekaiser for Tiffin University is probably going to be a top laner. Top laner or jungle, especially Jarvan. Curious to see what they're going to play here. Sivir definitely ADC. Maybe Jarvan jungle?
No, this is for sure Mordekaiser top Jarvan jungle. So this is going to be Sedge jungle. And interesting, actually, is Mordekaiser is one of the biggest counters to Sejuani. So you could take her out, and then that makes her just entirely useless. She does not win the 1v1 in Mordekaiser's ultimate, like rarely ever. Aesol and Jace going to be banned. Jace, a very strong mid lane pick, and denying that from Tiffin is actually really good here because he pairs really well with Jarvan and Sivir because he gets the movement speed boost. He could just hammer jump in and out and in and out. But I'm interested with this ASOL ban. I'm assuming that's targeted at Valpo's mid laner. Obviously something he's probably playing and they can see in the scouting reports. So not really that strong in the mid lane right now, but good scaling comp. So I'm assuming it's targeted towards Valpo's mid laner specifically.
Seems like you also have a Victor ban and a Pantheon as well. Very curious to see what we have here from Valpo and Tiffin. Seems like Tiffin's leaning more towards a brawly type of comp, while Valpo's choosing to do like a little more long range with Jinx especially.
So this is interesting because a lot of the meta mid laners are banned out except Syndra and Orianna. Syndra and Orianna are the only two. Oh, I mean, Silas is still on the board as well. Only real three that can be picked. If I was Valpo, honestly, I would pick Silas here. Silas is absolutely insane to the 3 ultimates you already have on the side of Valpo.
There's the Syndra pick from Tiffin.
Yep, opting for Syndra instead. This could be a response with the Orianna or the Azir potentially if Valpo's mid laner does play Azir. Could be an Azir or Orianna response, primarily what we see when going up against Syndra in the mid lane battles.
Okay. There's the Orianna pick from Valpo. Definitely expected. Orianna is in the meta right now. She's very, very, very popular as mid lane especially, I would assume.
Yep, that's going to be in the mid lane. Very strong team fight comp so far from Valpo. I'm liking it a lot. The Sivir, Mordekaiser, Syndra comp though, I mean, I wouldn't count it out. You know, Jarvan can get onto the back line of Orianna and Jinx. They can't really escape that well if they don't have their flashes. So if he can lock those down while Syndra, you know, unleashes her power onto at least one of the squishies, it's going to be absolutely devastating for Valpo's damage because, I mean, they're really relying on this Jinx and Orianna to do most of the damage. So Tiffin's game plan is going to be diving one of these backline members and taking them out before the team fights.
Seems like we have a Thresh for Valpo here and then Nautilus for Tiffin. Nautilus and Thresh. Thresh is very good for leashing, especially with his ability where you can pull on back to where he is on the map. It's going to be very interesting to see, especially with this ADC comp we have going on here, Jinx versus Sivir.
Yep, I'm excited to see what each team's going to do on the map here. We have a very tanky side of Valpo. We have a very burst damage, DPS heavy side of Tiffin. But what we're going to go ahead and do is throw it on over to the break while we wait for our spectator delay to go down and we get both teams out on the Rift. Alrighty, everybody, we are out and on the Summoner's Rift now. That pesky spectator delay is gone. And then we see no mishaps. It's going to be that Mordekaiser versus Ornn in the top lane and Sejuani Jarvan in the jungle. Pretty standard, like we were expecting when watching the draft here. But both teams not opting for an invade, even though the Thresh is on the side of Valpo. They're not looking for a pesky invade just right off the bat yet. And it's interesting to see that both junglers are going to be match clearing here today, playing towards their bot sides. Both bot sides being weak sided here as Sivir and Jinx are a little bit more of a late game. So very interesting to see what the strategies are going to be.
Seems like we're looking for a little bit of an invade on the jungle here. Seems like more or less we're kind of just walking around. Ornn and Sejuani going for blue buff here, while the other team seems to be going for the red buff, which is a good balance out, especially for now. Seems like they're going to be going straight to top lane after that.
Yeah, I'm expecting both junglers to kind of leave their top side alone a bit during this game. Mordekaiser at the beginning is going to have a bit of an edge over the Ornn, especially level 1, but don't count out the Ornn. That champion does too much damage sometimes. So it's going to be bot lane pathings. They're going to get there about level 3. So we're going to see the level 2 advantage come out, which I'm favoring towards the Nautilus because he is going to be able to... Actually, the flail is going to come out because Jinx hits level 2 first, and nice Thresh hook is going to land. The Ignite comes down as well, and they're looking for first blood onto a pool here, but he ends up getting rooted, and Dreadful does not get the kill. It actually goes on to Shadow Spark. And Ignite as well from a pool there, burning both summoners and only Ghost out for total fighting. But great level 2 engage with Shadow Spark landing the hook flails.
Abo here is actually at a disadvantage. Tiffin has no flash, no ignite, but it seems like a little bit of a fight on Sejuani here.
Yep, Scatter the Wings going to come down as Jarvan is able to flag over the wall. And they force out that flash, which is actually going to be very, very crucial once this first dragon fight comes up in the next 2 minutes. But Yeah, first kill in the bot lane going over to Shadow Spark, not really what you wanted if you really do want to try your best to give that kill over to Dreadful, who's going to have a bit of a CS disadvantage going into the late game because of the Sivir comp.
We have a little bit of wave juggling going on here. Seems like Thresh is going up top, fighting the Syndra here. Use of a flash. Well deserved. Valpo University putting a little bit of pressure on Tiffin here. Trying to get a little bit of that wave clearage. However, it seems that Nautilus here, Apple, is going into the jungle looking to possibly help out the Syndra here. But it seems like he's just maybe going out to clear out the jungle as well, getting some good visions out on the field, especially with control wards. Control wards are super important, give you a lot of information, and also cancel out vision wards as well. Seems like he's doing a little bit of a cleanup duty here.
Oh, first dragon is going to be on the board in about a minute. It is going to end up being a Cloud Dragon, which could go greatly in favor of Tiffin if they're able to get it with this Jarvan and Sivir comp. Orianna does have their flash, and Jarvan is in the chicken camp right now, looking to go over the wall. He's not level 6 just yet. Scout of the Week's going to end up landing. He does flag over the wall with his flash, but is not going to able to land the knock-up onto Jakimbo. Doesn't even burn her flash, so that's actually not beneficial if you're Tiffin there. You lose a lot just gaining nothing almost.
Especially the fact that Tiffin both doesn't have a flash on their mid or their jungle. That's a big loss of utility right there. But it seems like ADC bot is going hand in hand right here. Doing a little bit of a scuffle. However, leveling looks pretty even on this part. With Valpo University actually leading in levels here. Dreadful leading in. Sivir just recently reaching level 4 as well.
Yeah, they are going to get positioning advantage for the first drag of this game with the bot lane that ended up getting shoved out there. Nobody level 6 just yet, so it's not looking like Tiffin wants to kind of force a fight here. They do need to kind of hit level 6 on this Sivir and Jarvan as well as Syndra in order to potentially force a lot of fights. They're a very heavy CC lockdown team comp, so they kind of need that ultimate advantage, whereas Valpo, they're just tanky, and they're going to be tanky no matter what, so they don't need to rely on their ultimates as much to lock down the members of Tiffin. Hook is going to come out, but is going to get flashed out by Dreadful, and Shadow Spark's going to respond with a hook of his own. W is going to come down, but Syndra and Jarvan are roaming from the top river. Not really looking like it's going to get anything traded out for this first drag.
Total Fighting here actually has very, very, very low mana. I'm expecting a recall here sometime soon. However, it seems like they're going to stay in lane, possibly see if they can take a little bit of damage out. Jarvan is actually in their side of the jungle, however, he's on the top side. I'm expecting him to come on down and possibly try to push them out. It seems like he actually is coming downtown, possibly trying to look for an engage, especially on Valpo.
Yeah, Jarvan does not really need that level 6 just yet to invade this bot lane because Pool is playing the Nautilus, so he can just land the hook auto combinations to lock down the members of Valpo, but they're just going to Lantern and get out in base. Jinx, CS lead going back and forth so far, which is a little bit surprising. I was expecting the Sivir to have her shoved in a little bit longer throughout this lane.
Seems like top lane right here going hand in hand, pushing those lanes as possible. Mordekai's are possibly looking for wards, signifying there are wards there. Over mid lane, Syndra getting some hits on Orianna here. Expecting her to get a little bit frisky, start pushing up a little bit more towards the turret, possibly taking a plate here as well. Seems like both bot lanes are out for the fight as well.
Now, both mid laners and top laners are level 6, and this Rift Herald is spawning in a minute, so this is going to be absolutely crucial for the jungle pathing. As we see, King Julian is already in this top side, clearing out his red buff, whereas Victor is in the bot lane so far, getting bot scuttle with Thresh.
Seems like we have the bot lane of Valpo here going for the Scuttle Crab. Scuttle Crab is very good, especially for junglers as well. However, it seems that Apple actually is coming down here and might actually get caught in the fray. Putting vision down, very important. However, that vision is gone and done for good. That Scuttle Crab actually goes to Valpo University, making it easier for the jungle to actually move in and out of fights.
Now, this top side advantage is going to be leaning a little bit more towards Tiffin because Anya is currently a little low on mana, so might not have enough to actually roam down to this Rift Herald. But a good trades back and forth is going to force Anivia back to his tower. But like I said, not really having much mana, so if Tiffin does force this Rift Herald right now as it is spawning, the Ornn is not going to be able to rotate as effectively because he's not going to be able to pop his ultimate.
Seems like we have Jarvan here clearing out the jungle for Tiffin University. Looking to do Rift Herald very, very, very early. Seems like he's taking it on right now with no help from Mordekaiser and no help from Syndra. Actually, it looks like Syndra's actually coming up right now. So Syndra and Jarvan currently on Rift Herald as the bot seems to duke it out a little bit. Top lane doesn't seem to be peeling either. So it just seems like a double solo fight.
And that's going to be first Herald of the game going over to Tiffin. This is going to be absolutely crucial. He can give it to his top lane or his mid lane, and that gold advantage is going to be detrimental because you essentially have a tank mage in the top side that power scales, and then an OP mid control mage out of blue light on the Syndra that also power scales. So he could put that essentially anywhere, but I'm expecting it not to be dropped yet until closer to this dragon spawning.
Seems like we have Jarvan for Tiffin clearing over their side of the jungle, while Valpo's jungler seems to be recalling currently. Mordekaiser really wants to recall. Seems like both top laners are actually recalling, but however, Jarvan seems like he wants to come down for a gank on the bot lane especially. He's walking on down. He's got that stride. He's got a full set of health.
Hook is going to land on a Jinx. She does not have flash, but Lantern does come out from Shadow Spark, and not really going to be looking like a gank. He did walk over a ward, so Valpo was able to position accordingly to that. But yeah, he wants to get a bot gank for this dragon prio. They're down a dragon right now, which is not really that bad, but they do want to nail the second one as is a Hextech dragon.
Something that is very important right now is that Valpo actually has their ward in the jungle, so they can see exactly where that Jarvan's going to come from, which is a very, very, very smart play on their support side, who is very responsible for making sure that the junglers stay out of their side of the lane.
I want to point out, King Julian so far has a bit of an XP lead onto Vector. It's not going to be that beneficial, but it could, you never know, it could turn the fight. You see, he is up about 3 camps on the Sejuani so far, which is a little surprising to me because Jarvan, someone that's a little bit more early ganking and getting his laners ahead rather than power farming, but not really had a position to really affect his lanes just yet in this game.
Seems like we have a possible team fight going on for the drag right here. Control ward going up for Tiffin University. However, it is not enough.
Yep, Dragon is not started just yet, but all 5 members from both teams as the flash hook's going to come up, but it's actually not going to land onto anything. The Lantern comes down for Jakimbo just in case. And Julian, he's starting the Dragon with a pool. Ultimate on either side, but Total Fighting does not have the Sivir ultimate, and that could be a turner. We're going to see an engage with the Ornn ultimate come down, but Jarvan lands a Cataclysm onto Jakimbo, and a pool slays Victor. That's jungler down for Valpo, but King Julian has fallen in the meantime as well. This Jinx, she has her passive stocks. She's hitting the rockets. She's looking for a triple kill potentially, but a pool lands a hook and root on him, and Shadow Spark lands the flash, trying to help out his AD carry, but she gets a double kill before she ends up falling. When Long is in here with this Mordekaiser, his passive is just now going to end up going down, and this is looking like a fight that turned in favor of Tiffin, which looked in favor of Valpo.
Very well done. Very well done on Tiffin's part. It seems like they possibly want to engage, possibly for a steal. However, they are like falling in and out. Seems like Thresh will recall. Sejuani will be doing camps on the meantime. That was a very good fight on Tiffin's part. Lots of utilities used, both sides. However, it did fall out in favor of Tiffin University. A lot of criticals down on the field. That Ornn ult was nothing to be messed with. However, it was not enough to secure the dragon. First dragon goes over to Tiffin University.
Yeah, let's talk about this Hextech drag for a second here while we have a little bit of downtime. You've got a Mordekaiser in the top side and a pool on this Nautilus in the bot side. Well, individual dragons were nerfed, so they're not as powerful anymore, but the CDR that's going to come out of this individual dragon is going to allow for Mordekaiser to keep his passive up a lot longer and a pool to land even more hooks in team fights.
Seems like we have Apple here as Nautilus looking for wards, and however, hooking in the Jinx.
Hook is going to land. King Julian comes in with a flag combo, is going to land a knock-up, and that's going to be a shutdown given over to the Sivir. Dreadful, a little bit out of position there, but nice punish because he did not have Flash or Ghost on cooldown.
Both bot laners are now out of a flash on Tiffin's side, while Valpo University actually has no utility, especially on their bot lane. Dreadful was neither Flash nor Ghost. However, it seems like the Rift Herald will be crashing down on the tower, possibly taking down the entire thing. However, they are coming back rather quickly.
Yep, gold lead swinging in favor of Tiffin University so far, which I favor because you have the Sivir and you have the Syndra, people that are going to absolutely power scale. Now, is it going to be better than the Jinx in the long haul? Probably not. With the Jinx buffs to her passive, she also, like I said, all she needed was 1 kill. We saw it in the last team fight. She was absolutely devastating. So once she gets a little bit more into those items, those rockets are going to hurt a lot more.
Seems like we're looking for a little bit of wave juggling here. Stalling the wave gives a little bit of utility. Gives a little bit more opportunity to push forward as well. Seems like that's what's going on with Ornn right here. Jarvan looking to possibly gank the mid, going on the Orianna right here.
Yep, Cataclysm comes down and Blue Light unleashes his power for a kill onto Jakimbo in this mid lane. She did proc the Shockwave to pull the Jarvan to the side of the wall to try and buy her a little bit more time. Surprised she didn't end up flashing there, but she did get bursted down pretty quickly though.
I'm surprised Jarvan didn't actually fall to that turret right there. A little bit further under that turret, if you play a little bit further to the turret, that probably would have killed Jarvan right there. However, that was not the case, especially in this fight. Seems like we have a little bit of dueling going on here in the top lane as well. A little bit of wave pushing and pulling. That is definitely important, especially when you want to gain more XP.
Yeah, and this Mordekaiser, he's up almost good 10, almost 15, potentially about a wave and a half of CS on this Ornn so far. So he's going to get probably first item, and actually because he has so much more gold, he's going to shove out way faster and get to this Rift Herald if King Julian does call for him to help out. But both supports are roaming up from the bot lane. We actually see Jinx is roamed up as well. So Orianna is matching Sivir in the bot lane for Tiffin and Valpo right now. It's not really in favor of the Sivir in that, but Jakimbo has the TP, so he can TP to this Rift whenever he wants.
Seems like Valpo here actually wants to possibly go for the Rift Herald all as a team. However, Nautilus and Syndra and most of their team actually wants to come and fight for it. Seems like we're going to have a bit of a team scuffle here.
Yeah, Mordekaiser is going to be roaming down first, and we're waiting for King Julian to pull the trigger, or Shadowspark to pull the trigger. Somebody, one of these engages is going to come out. Shadowspark actually already using the flail, hooks the Mordekaiser, and the top side is the ult is going to come down as well, and the Super Mega Death Rock is not going to actually kill Wenlong. They're committing everything to killing this Mordekaiser, and he will eventually fall to Anya on the top side. And this is going to be given to Valpo after pretty scuffed team fight in the river, to be honest.
Very interesting play here. Now Orianna is fighting in the bot lane. However, the entirety of Tiffin University, or most of the Tiffin University, is still in mid lane. Possibly either trying to push on that Orianna, or otherwise, possibly get stuck in the middle of Valpo University.
Yeah, Tiffin has got to trade out this Dragon. They lost the Rift Herald, so they need to trade something for it. Dragon's not up for 40 seconds, though, so they got to shove out their waves and look to play for it. Valpo looking to drop this Rift Herald, probably in the mid lane here, to buy them time to move in and take river space.
That Rift Herald will definitely come in handy, especially with that turret lost in the bot lane. It might be more useful to do either in the mid or bot lanes as well. The mid lane turret is very important, especially for a full team push.
Jakimbo still with Bosum, so he could, I expect, TPs to come out from both Jakimbo and Inya here. Not having the Ornn ultimate just yet, and with 5 seconds to go to this Dragon spawns, favoring Tiffin so far. They have a lot more cooldowns. Mordekaiser's already in the river as well. Sivir ult's gonna, Sivir ult doesn't come down. I heard the scream from Syndra and it confused me for a second there. But Tiffin already moving in and taking river control early. This is good, and they're haven't started the Dragon just yet. This is looking like TP coming out of Anya here, so they have not got this Ornn ultimate online just yet. But Mordekaiser doesn't have his ult. Syndra's gonna pop her ultimate now with the Sivir ultimate, and Anivia goes up and knocks up 2 members of Tiffin, but Vector is low, and he's going to end up falling to Sivir, and so does the Thresh. Blue Light absolutely on a killing spree, and Mordekaiser is just buying space, but will end up falling to Dreadful from the Super Mega Death Rocket. King Julian is able to flag over the wall and is going to land the Cataclysm onto Jakimbo. This should be a wipe, but Jakimbo actually slays the Syndra with the Shockwave and gets that kill. And Nivea can potentially clean this up and actually does get the pick onto the 80 carry of Valpo. It's just down to King Julian, and he gets a triple kill that fight, absolutely turning it with these assassination dives onto the carries of Valpo.
It is safe to say that Tiffin University has earned their second Dragon of the game. Second Dragon, correct? Second Dragon of the game. Very interesting play here. We saw that Ornn ult. We saw it try to come back for the Sivir, and it completely whiffed. Lots of ults going down. However, CFO Vector coming in.
Vector
Thresh coming in as well.
Yeah, Vector now looking to give this Dragon just yet. We see dual TPs coming out. Should be potentially both mid laners from both teams. Actually, the top laner, Wenlong, he's back into this fight. And Red Team steals the Dragon, even though they started it first. And they're looking to re-engage. Mordecai says his passive, but it actually does not land the ultimate. Looks like it ended up getting flashed barely out of range, so it did cancel the proc. But that's a Dragon in favor of Tiffin, so they can walk away without winning the fight.
They were looking for it. They really were looking for it. That Dragon is very, very, very crucial. It looks like the Rift Herald will be going out in the mid turret as well. This seems to be another team fight trying to go on, especially with that Mordekaiser is very important that they stay out of his range of the ult. One ult from him, and they are toast.
Barely any ultimates. Ornn gonna have his ultimate online very, very soon. So will Vector, but not looking like either team wants the team fight. Is in the bot lane. Orianna gets caught out in that 2v1 King Julian and Blue Light on an absolute tear together with perfect synergy so far in this game.
Seems like Mordekaiser is going back up top right now. Ornn's coming to join him as well, possibly looking to gank him, catch him off by surprise, and then possibly getting a kill. He does have level advantage as well. Level advantage and possibly his ult as well. Both top laners actually have their ults. I wonder if they're going to duke it out right here or possibly try to push waves a little bit more. I'm thinking pushing waves a little bit more.
And he has got to be a little bit careful though, because Mordekaiser can ult him and take his stats, so he'll end up being a bit tankier than the Ornn in the 1v1 in the, the Shadow Realm. So
seems like we did a little bit of rotation here. Bot lane is now pushing the mid, while mid seems to be pushing the bot lane. We have Sejuani in the bot lane right there, while both ADCs and supports seem to be duking it out in the mid lane. This is very crucial because Tiffin seems to be having a mid turret that doesn't have much HP left, but it looks like Apple here is actually going to be warding the jungle, which is very important, especially when they're going to be pushing for the eventual Baron.
Yeah, Baron is up, and I want to point out that the Syndra has 2 items, so they have a mid lane power spike here, and a stun's going to come up, and I'm not expecting much to come out of this just yet. And Nautilus has his Mythic online before Thresh does, so this is looking in favor of Tiffin. If they want to force a fight here, they do have a bit more of the power scale, and they're going to start the Baron and potentially look for a flip. Both teams having all ultimates, but no flash on the side of either AD carry, so this could get deadly.
Seems like there's a bit of push and pull going on here, actually. They want to go in, but they also are a little too scared. However, it seems like Ornn is actually going to get caught in the middle of the fray right here.
Yep, Scout of the Week's going to come down, but they haven't locked down this Ornn just yet. Actually not going to land the knockup. Thresh is going to catch out this Apul, and he's going to end up falling to Dreadful. That's the passive stack online so far, and he's looking to take down Total Fighting. Total Fighting does fall as well. Scout of the Week's going to push this Jinx away, but Total Fighting does not die without getting a pick. Triple kill so far for this Jinx of Dreadful. Hook's going to land onto Wenlong, and they want to potentially extend this fight, but they don't have the health bars to do so, and that's going to be a fight 1 for Tiffin's over, or not Tiffin, Valpo.
Very interesting play here, especially on this Dreadful. Dreadful's Jinx is doing very well, especially so far in that fight. Jinx's passive really showing off in this eventual duel. Very interesting. I wonder what they're going to do with this Baron coming up here. I wonder if they're going to be forced to push it, or it looks like they want to actually get some more visions out in the field before they actually go to push the Baron.
Now this Jinx has 2 items online where so far Total Fighting has only had the Kraken Slayer. So like we said, that Jinx passive is absolutely devastating. It's about to get even more devastating with a huge crit bonus.
CFO Vector actually has a level disadvantage compared to King Julian, who is 12 to 10, especially level advantage. That is actually very bad, especially for jungle.
Dragon is going to be online in about a minute here so far. No ultimate so far for the CFO Vector. It should come online by the time the Dragon starts, but if the fight breaks out earlier, it's not going to be looking good for Valpo. They rely on that Sejuani slow and stun to potentially lock down Blue Light or King Julian, prevent them from comboing together very well like they have been doing all game.
Seems like both teams are ready to set up for the Ocean Drake that's spawning in about 45 seconds here. However, Syndra seems to be pushing the top lane and eventually peeling down towards the mid lane, where they're going to be forced to dish out another fight here. Wonder if we're going to see a bunch of ults being dumped here for this fight, or else we're going to see them for the drag. However, it seems like Valpo actually has the jump on the gun. It's actually going to set up for Drake right now.
Yep, they pushed out the mid lane and then moved into the river. Very standard, very fundamental. That's what we see. But Tiffin might not care. They might just trade this dragon for Baron. I mean, it's only the second dragon for Valpo, so it's not really that much of a threat. And they're looking to do just yet, but Valpo knows. TP's gonna come out from Wunlong. He's looking to potentially zone out this fight and keep the members from Valpo from engaging, but the Ornate comes out. It's going to only land a knock-up onto a pool. Not really somebody you want it to do. Syndra comes down as well. Not being able to get an execute just yet. Multiple flashes from the members of Tiffin, but they might actually be winning this fight. Blue Light does slay Vector, and Anemia actually falls as well, but a huge shockwave is going to land onto 3 members. They actually quadra kill. Is it a Pento, or did Jakimbo steal it? It's looking like, nope, Jinx didn't end up dying. Jakimbo gets that kill, but a massive quadra kill for Dreadful, turning the fight for Valpo there.
Very well done, indeed. Seems like they're actually going to capture Ocean Drake as well. So this is very good for Valpo, as they now got the Dragon, Ocean Drake, and also got them off the Baron as well, so that gives them an opportunity to take it. However, they're not going to take it just from 2 people alone. That requires an entire team fight as well. However, the Mord actually tried to push behind everyone else and actually ended up getting punished for it. He was not able to take those kills just as he intended, which is very interesting considering he does not have an ult, and the only ult that they have here on Tiffin University is Jarvan. It's going to be very interesting to see, especially with the next team fight.
Yep. CFO Vector's going to come over the wall thanks to the help of Shadow Spark, and that's going to be second dragon of the game for them. It's an Ocean Drake on a Sejuani. Not really something you want to end up giving over, but if you're Tiffin, you don't really have a choice there. They've got to find a way to shut down this Jinx. She does not have flash. They could look for another Baron fight and land the Cataclysm onto her and potentially unleash power from the Syndra ult, but they need to assassinate this Jinx if they want to win a team fight.
10 and 4 is definitely not a force to be reckoned with, especially in a case like this. Dreadful is leading in, especially with leveling as well. Jinx ult going in, trying to see if there's anybody. I assume it would be a scouting decision.
I mean, it's a short cooldown. It'll be back before they do a Baron fight. I mean, so with Sivir ult, ADC cooldowns just really aren't that long. But yeah, 3 item power spikes so far on this Jinx, and that LDR is going to be absolutely massive when it comes to bursting down Wenlong in a pool, whereas Sivir currently only has the Navorian Kraken, so going to be relying a bit more on the Syndra and Mordekaiser to pull weight in the front line damage potential.
Seems like Tiffin University seems to be wanting to lean more towards going towards the Dread jungle. However, bot ADC and support seems to be pushing mid lane as well. Trying to look for a little bit of damage. Jarvan actually trying to come in, seeing if he could gank, possibly get some damage in there as well. However, it seems like Sejuani and Orianna are going to come push them out, possibly looking for Baron here.
Yeah, they can play for a flip if they want to. You know, get a little bit risky. I'm here for the risk. I'm excited to see team fights after team fights, but nothing happening just yet. They're going to push out this mid tower. See if they can decide to go for a tower dive. Shadow Spark is going to be forced to flash away. Does land the hook flail on King Julian, and Jinx is putting out massive amounts of damage on him. Actually gets ignited from Shadow Spark, but maybe thinking that they could have bursted down this jungler, but they do not get him just yet. But he's weak, so they can go for Baron.
Seems like we're looking for another team scuffle here. Lots of flashes on cooldown, especially on Tiffin University. That might be a big hindrance if they get into another team fight here. However, it seems like they're more or less spreading out, or they're Mordekaiser is in the know, knowing that they are on Baron. Seems like they're going to rotate and go in for a team fight.
Chompers are going to come down to try and zone out Wenlong. Goes over the wall, King Julian, but the Ornate comes down as well as going to land a knock up on the both members with a shockwave. Hits 3 members, total fighting is in the back line. He has the Sivir ultimate online, and Vector's going to slay Wenlong. That's 2 members for Tiffin University down, but a shutdown comes onto the Jinx. This could be good for Tiffin, but they're too low HP, and Sivir does not have the damage just yet, and they're going to force out Tiffin. A massive team fight for Valpo as they take a gold lead and potentially Baron, but Vector's a little weak.
I wonder if they're going to go back for the kills here. It doesn't seem like they're going to. However, that Sivir is very, very, very low, able to be killed. However, it seems like they're going to leave them be. In this case, it's better to be safe than sorry, especially with that big kill lead. However, it does not seem like they're going to take Baron here.
So in that fight, King Julian does what we needed him to do and gets onto the Jinx and bursts her down. However, it's kind of a double-edged sword here. You got onto the Jinx, burst her down, but Jakimbo was free to do whatever he pleased and ended up landing a massive 3-man shockwave off of his top laner's Ornn ultimate for the engage. So it's like a double-edged sword for Tiffin right now. You shut down something, you got to deal with something else.
Seems like right here, Tiffin is deciding what to do, whether to possibly band up, push mid, or possibly push for Baron. It seems like they're going to possibly push for Baron here. However, it seems like they're going to do a little bit of scouting first, possibly set up some vision wards and some control wards, and take back control of that Baron. However, it seems like they're going to disband here.
It's only third dragon in the game for both teams, so realistically, you're not really at a threat just yet, so you can play for this Baron. But the problem is Valpo knows that Tiffin wants to trade a dragon for Baron, so neither one of them are eager to start either of these micro objectives. Both of them honestly just playing for a pick before deciding where it is they want to go.
What is very interesting is that neither teams actually have much sight on the dragon itself. Very interesting play here, as I would expect the supports to be more diligent on doing visions for the Drake, considering there's only 30 seconds left until it spawns. It can be anyone's dragon here. However, it seems like Valpo is going to capitalize on the fact that the other team, Tiffin, is near the red jungle, possibly going for the Scuttle Crab and that having to be their vision.
Something very important I want to point out here is Blue Light does not have his flash. So if they do go for a fight here, Valpo can take advantage of that, and potentially if Jakimbo lands a shockwave and pulls in that Syndra, it's most likely going to end up bursting and killing that Syndra, which is going to be detrimental to the DPS of Tiffin. It's looking like both teams starting both objectives.
Orianna here, Jakimbo trying to see where they're going to be, but more or less using it as a scout tool.
They have time. Tiffin doesn't have the damage just yet. Valpo might not get there though. It's at 4K, it's at 3K. Are they gonna make it there in time? They are not. Sivir potentially could have popped her ultimate, Scatter the Weak's gonna come down, and Thresh is actually gonna take that hook. He's gonna use the ultimate on the Blue Light, but probably not a hook you did want to end up taking. And he is forced to respond with an Orin ult here, but this fight looking in favor of Tiffin as a pool is CC trading, and Wenlong is zoning the 80 carries, but Dreadful gets that pick onto the Mordekaiser. Cataclysm is gonna come down and actually slay Dreadful. That is a nice kill for King Julian, and with this Baron buff, they can shove out mid lane.
Very interesting play here. Tiffin now down 2 players with Baron, but it seems like this could be possibly cleaned up.
Yep, they have the damage. Jakimbo is still alive, and Vector has the CC lockdown. They're looking to go onto Total Fighting. Smite's going to come down in the meantime, and Orianna's just going to give that Sejuani a little bit more of a shield. King Julian looking potentially slay the mid laner, and a fight, honestly, once you got that first pick, you probably should have just backed off.
Special thing with Baron, as soon as you die, you lose it. However, Tiffin is now down 3, only having 2 members now, but the Jarvan and the Sivir that have Baron still. That is a waste of a Baron in my opinion, however, it still can be capitalized upon. It's all up to what they do with it.
Yeah, your 80 carry is going to be able to shove lanes extremely fast. You can, and with Sivir having very high mobility, you can go from top to mid to bottom very fast and shove out each wave. So having Baron buff on her is still pretty good. She's also going to be grouping with the team, so wherever your Baron buff is at is essentially where the Sivir is going to be and where your team's probably going to be, which is going to potentially go in favor of Valpo because that means they only have 1 wave they have to shut down and deal with. And when you have an Orianna Jinx, it's not that hard to wave clear.
The only problem is there's only 2 people with the Baron, and if those 2 people die, you lose the Baron. That's the only downside with that. However, I assume that Sivir will be playing a little bit farther back, but it does seem like they're going to be pushing mid, using that Baron to the best of their ability, both Sivir and J4.
Yep. One thing that surprises me is that even though we're in the late game and you have a Sivir versus a Jinx, they've been neck and neck in farm so far this game. Neither one of them, you expect the Sivir to be able to shove out waves a lot faster and farm faster than the Jinx, but the Jinx is actually keeping up and still has that item leave. GA for her this fight, and the next dragon's up in 2.5 minutes, so if they choose to fight for that and she gets her GA proc.
Seems like Jarvan's actually camping out in the forest, trying to possibly either steal a camp or steal a kill here, or possibly waiting for his team to push down so he can gank.
Yep, they're looking for a potential fight here. Scatter the Weak's going to come out. It's going to land a stun onto Vector, and he's going to get ulted by this Nautilus. Sivir uses her ultimate for an engage here as well, and the GA is going to be proc onto Dreadful, which is not what he's wanting to see, but Vector's going to go low and will end up falling. TP is going to be forced out of Ania here. He gets stunned immediately and is forced to dash away. This should be the mid inhibitor turret falling as Shadow Spark lands a hook on a Blue Light, potentially trying to pull him into one of these towers. But both teams forced to retreat so far. Not really, you know, settling down a little bit, not really forcing a team fight, but Tiffin has the advantage to potentially win here. Julian's going to go in with the knock-up. It's not able to get a kill just yet. Unleashed Power comes out with a nice triple shockwave, but Jikimbo is potentially going to turn this fight in favor of Valpo. Total Fighting is going to be forced to use the stopwatch of Blue Light. He's a quarter HP as well, and he will end up falling to Ania here. A massive, massive ult from Jikimbo, winning these fights for his team.
Very good fight there. Very, very, very good fight. Very good push from Tiffin University. Getting the inhibitor, getting the middle turret, that is very important, especially to the fact that the minions are now going to be pushing forward and getting more aggressive. Forcing Valpo to play a little bit farther back and clear out those minion waves before they do anything else. Got also damaged on the 2 main turrets right in front of the Nexus as well. Both the outer turrets are taking a little bit of damage. At least one of them is almost nearly dead. Get some very good usage out from the rest of the Baron as well. Looking very, very, very good for Tiffin University. Valpo has to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, that fight honestly could have been worth it for Tiffin if they got both Nexus turrets down in the meantime, because then, you know, they would have died, but, you know, that's a quick recall to base, so they buy items and then start moving toward this dragon. But Valpo looking at a little bit of an advantage here so far, and they're on soul point. So if they get this dragon, we're looking at a fight that might actually go in favor of Valpo.
Seems like Valpo wants the red buff to themselves. Mordekaiser are going into the jungle, possibly looking for any sort of kills, any sort of stragglers going on there. And Nautilus is kind of slowly looking in the back, ready to help him out if possible. Both Syndra and Jarvan waiting in the jungle patiently, possibly looking for a gank. While Nautilus and Mord possibly want to bait them forward a little bit, that gives Jarvan and Syndra the opportunity to push forward. Catching them off of guard is the name of the game, especially with Jarvan.
Well, they knew this Jinx was coming out of spawn, so arguably what they're doing is potentially trying to zone her, catch her out in the mid lane by herself while their team is moving towards the dragon. So see King Julian, he's looking for an engage here. He's going to land the flag combo, knock up. Unleashed Power comes out on the Victor, but he's too tanky, not going to get executed just yet. They're looking to keep fighting this. Nice hook from Shadow Sparks, going to delay time, and the Ornal actually ends up getting canceled. That's going to use an ultimate, but it might not actually do anything as a Cataclysm stopwatch from Julian. He's going to lock 2 members. The Shockwave comes down though, and it lands on the 3 members of Tiffin, and they are falling. Dreadful has his passive up unlocked, and he's going to get a double kill so far. The attack speed is scaling, and he has the tank burning. Quadra kill for Sivir, but this might turn in favor of the Jinx. She gets her triple kill. She's looking for a Penta, going to lock the GA onto the Sivir. He's going to miss the W onto Blue Light, but this should turn in favor of Dreadful. The Q is going to land onto this Jinx, but she's not going to end up falling. That's a quadra kill for her. Could have been a Penta if the W hit Blue Light. And these AD carries are performing today.
That is very unlucky, especially for Dreadful here, missing out on a pentakill. However, it is better to fall back than to go and feed, especially to the fact that their main inhibitors down the middle one, and also the fact the outer turrets are getting a little bit lower. Leaving the Nexus exposed is very, very, very dangerous, especially for the game Valpo's playing. However, Dragon is up, but there are no visions down. The only visions we see are Tiffin University warding the blue jungle.
Well, it's a little bit of a hindrance that your mid inhibitor turret is down, but it's also an advantage if you're Valpo, because that means your Jinx can sit in the mid lane, safe from anything in the game, and farm for free, and get 90 gold off of super minions. So she's going to have multiple gold power specs and actually take a gold lead here. As Valpo, they're positioned for this Baron. They might look for a flip here. They have the ultimates to do so.
It seems like that if they want to do Baron, they simply can't. They're missing that middle turret. They're also missing that middle inhibitor. Seems like in this case, they can't go for the Baron. They're forced to fight for their Nexus. Tiffin backing off with their wave. However, instead going for the dragon. Very interesting here.
Yeah, Valpo is going to be forced to fight for this dragon. Well, I mean, they're not forced. It's only the 3rd dragon for Tiffin. But TP so far for Wenlong and Blue Light. So if they want to, they could pressure the base by TPing into the base if they really, really wanted to. But they're going to opt for river control instead. And either team going for a fight just yet. This could be huge if somehow Vector is able to steal this dragon. Or, you know, maybe they started first and maybe he just wins the smite battle.
I think more or less Valpo's looking for an engage ult here, especially from either
Dragon's already at 2k. It's down to 1k. It's going to end up getting smited, and that actually goes in favor of Tiffin. Orno's going to come down and land on the 2 members, but those are the tanks. Threshold's going to come down, and Blue Light is forced to use that Zhonya's. But so far, the Cataclysm lands onto 2 members, and they're going to end up falling as Total Fighting is completely left alone to do whatever he pleases. Jakimba's alive. He could get the pentakill, but he's not going to go for it. He actually just goes and pushes out the mid lane instead, playing for the team fight win instead. You know, he wants to win the game. He doesn't need to flash or pop off with the pentakill. He wants to win the game instead.
He's going straight for the inhibitor first, and then we're going for the outer turret. This is not looking good in favor of Valpo University. All of their players are on cooldown for about 20 to 30 seconds. That gives enough time to make a big final push on the outer turrets.
Yep, King, Juliana Pool, they're tanky enough. They're going to end up knocking down these Nexus turrets, and Sivir with the attack speed is going to hit the Nexus, and this is going to be Tiffin in an all-out brawl, taking game 1 in the best of 3 series for our quarterfinals.
Very well played on both sides here. Tiffin just barely let out the leads, especially in kills, 32 to 33. However, Tiffin just had that little bit of oomph to them. They knew what they wanted to do, and they used their utility to fight. However, Dreadful on the Valpo team as Jinx, that was definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially on the Jinx buff.
I got to give it to both mid laners and both AD carries from either team. Absolutely coming up big. We see multiple quadra kills from Dreadful, multiple from Total Fighting. They were absolutely putting the teams on their backs and going insane. And it was really neck and neck, as we see. Even though they won the last team fight, Tiffin did, the goal difference was still only 2k like throughout that entire game. So it really could have gone either way. It just came down to one team fight, and Tiffin won it.
And that team fight goes to Tiffin. Now going on to game 2. We will be back after a short break.
All right, everybody, welcome back to map number 2, which should be starting very soon. We've had confirmation that the draft should be up and running very shortly between Valpo and Tiffin, our quarterfinals match of the day. Loser goes to the losers bracket to potentially fight for a 3rd place spot.
Yep, and I missed game 1, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw Tiffin win that one.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So map 1 was fairly hotly contested, though. Out of the round 1 matches, you would expect the 4th and 5th seed to be the closest, and that was the result. Yeah, that was the result that we saw. As an example, as a CSU member, I was obviously trying to watch my school towards the end of when I got back, and they had not an easy time, but a fairly reasonable time handling their opponent as the 3rd seed going against the 6th seed. So by that logic, the other games would probably have been even less close. So this is definitely the match to be watching right now.
So far, looking like some mirror ban picks so far, but the Zac ban, pretty interesting. Valpo had blue side last time, and Tiffin had red side. So I don't know if this is targeted in some form of, you know, Tiffin, they watch VODs. They see that when Valpo goes down a map, they pull out the Zac, but they're going to ban the Jarvan from Tiffin. They do not want him getting on to their burst damage DPS dealers, and it's looking like a Braum ban, so that leans me towards something to deal with Seraphine.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. The Jarvan ban also, like, obviously last map.
Broken champ.
Yeah, broken champ, and when I was out there watching my own team, I would hear from inside of the room people screaming. Like, I would hear that guy yelling at himself, "I'm the GOAT!" every time he would get a 3K or something. So they were really feeling the Jarvan, so it makes sense to get rid of that. The Jinx coming back in, that also makes a lot of sense to me. The Zac ban, I think that might be like either, like you said, like a read, or maybe like a nervousness thing. Like you have a specific champ in your back pocket that is specifically weak to the Zac in some form or another. I'm not exactly sure what that could be.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, like Zac is not a champion who I would inherently think like for example, oh, we're playing playing like a
Diana though.
Diana, like. Perfect example. If we're going to play like a Diana and an Akali and a Tristana, we would want to ban Poppy. Like that kind of thing. Zac doesn't strike me as a champion like that, where you have a dedicated ban for a dedicated champ, but the Diana might be a little bit of a clue towards that. Because she can get disrupted pretty easily by Zac.
So I want to reel it back to this Jinx pick. Like you said, expected, but what I was expecting is Tiffin to ban it. Dreadful absolutely pulling Valpo back into the game last game with that Jinx pick. We saw him get quadra kills left and right. That passive is absolutely insane at the moment. And Ania, once again, going for the Ornn, going to have that frontline pressure for this Jinx to be able to do whatever she pleases. So honestly interesting to see neither AD carries getting banned because they absolutely put on a clinic for both teams. So Tiffin getting the Sivir, obviously that's what they want. And I guess Valpo, they're going to take the Jinx when it's on the board.
Yeah, and the Diana into what Valpo has so far, it feels like a little bit of a strange jungle pick, if all things considered. Like, I mean, it's not exactly like you had the opportunity to counterpick it, but it feels like it's currently being counterpicked. Like, again, Wukong, Ornn, not great chance to play against great chance to play against the Diana, fairly resilient. And I said before Poppy, the Poppy's going to come out. I don't know what this is really responsible.
That's too early.
Yeah, that's too early.
It's way too early. You only see Wukong, Ornn. Ornn does not care if he gets stunned from a Poppy W. And Wukong, the only one that's potentially going to care about it. But, I mean, once he uses his W to engage, you're not going to stop that because he's stealth. So he's going to W to engage. And, like, I guess if you could see that, or potentially he could just E to engage, and the E is so point and click instant, you've got to have the reaction time of literally the sun god Wukong in order to stop this Wukong from engaging. So going to be Cassiopeia Victor bans coming out once again, targeted towards that very strong mid lane. So I'm expecting a potential mirror mid lane match just like last game. I mean, we could get duped here. Maybe the Ziggs comes out. Still pretty strong.
Maybe the Ziggs, yeah. Still, like, I'm not sure what the last patch brought, but, I mean, unless...
It increased his Q bounce.
Oh, so he's still fine. Yeah. He's still a very strong champion, blowing up those turrets. And it's the Pantheon ban.
Just like last time.
Okay, that makes sense. I was about to say, they're definitely fearing and respecting this mid lane a lot with that Pantheon ban, it feels. What did they play last time, Tiffin?
It was Syndra, Orianna.
Syndra
from Tiffin and Orianna had the Valpo. So Nautilus going to be coming out. Mirror bot lane so far. Apple putting in work on that Nautilus. He absolutely tanked a lot of CC. Lots of times he was getting Thresh hooked off the bat, and then Thresh would pop his ultimate onto Nautilus. Not really something you want to do, but I mean, I guess that limits the front line from being able to move and peel for the AD carry, so not too horrible of a play there. But we're going to see how Valpo responds. I mean, the Thresh was not bad, so it could just come out again.
Oh, a Taric. That's an interesting one. Tark's not a champ you see a lot nowadays.
I think this is a perfect pick into Poppy Diana Sivir. I think this Tark is going to absolutely put in work. I mean, what is Diana going to do to a Tark ultimate?
Shake her fist. But I mean, this is kind of what we said before about the Poppy being too soon.
Yep.
Like you're playing, if you're Tiffin and you're playing specifically for your mid lane, maybe you should have picked that Nautilus instead. Maybe you should have saved the Poppy for later. Syndra's going to be taken by Valpo. And you said Valpo had the Orianna last time, or they had the Syndra?
They had the Orianna last time.
They had the Orianna.
Jakimbo is on the Orianna.
That Syndra pick is taken away from Tiffin. It's effectively another ban. So if you can pull out a decent Syndra yourself, you're putting yourself in a very good situation. Now Tiffin, up to them to realistically pull something out here. I could see a crazy pick like an Akali.
You know, I was just about to say something. I think this is a Diana mid.
You know,
I think this is. I just started thinking about it when you were going through your spiel. I think this is a Diana mid, Poppy top.
I had entirely ruled that out. Poppy top. I mean, that sounds like a rough matchup into Ornn. I think.
I mean, neither one of them have to do anything, though.
They don't have to do anything, but also neither one can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're not, like, the top plates are going to, I mean, that actually might be a good thing if you are planning to win bot lane super hard early, and you just, neither top laner takes place, and they just shake their fists at each other, doing 38 damage with their autos the entire time.
Yeah.
Right? And then maybe you can rotate your bot laner up to top, and then take a few plates, bully the Ornn out, and then maybe if you can play for that, whichever team gets that early bot lane advantage and can roam their ADC around, I think it has a huge advantage based on these picks. Graves,
still a really strong pick. I'm expecting in the mid lane. I mean, we've seen Graves top before, but that hasn't been meta since like what, season 11, season 12. So I'm expecting Graves in the jungle. He did get a little bit nerfed in the early game, so Wukong can actually take advantage of that and actually invade the Graves and win now because he does not have the armor stacking anymore as much. It like got minimized by 2, so that actually, I mean, 2 is a lot.
Yeah,
let's be honest. So
especially for early game.
Yeah, I'm leaning a lot in favor of Valpo's team fighting right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Poppy's W has like 1 target realistically. Like it's nothing that Poppy can really impact on this game aside from a little bit of CC. And, like, the big thing that I think of Poppy is the ability to stop dashes, the ability to prevent enemy playmaking, you don't have that kind of opportunity. Most of the playmaking is going to be ranged with the Syndra and with the Jinx, and meanwhile the rest of the team, unless magically Poppy can stop Ornal, maybe that's the buff that it needs. Make it so that it can't. The Ornal gets bounced off the Poppy.
I mean, Ania missed a couple Ornals last map, but it ended up not mattering because Kimbo on the Orianna absolutely went crazy. But another thing that's very, very crucial to point out here is Tiffin has no front line.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're relying on Poppy, Nautilus, to really uphold that.
Poppy's not that much of a tank. Even if you build tank on her, she doesn't get that tanky.
It's just kind of Poppy and Nautilus still. Those are the only at all frontline pressure that you can argue you have. And then you're playing so much. I think you're playing a lot for this Diana to get value.
That is true. Yeah, no, the Diana is going to be absolutely massive. But I mean,
who does she get value on?
Nobody really. I mean, if you pull in the Syndra and maybe burst her down, or pull in the Jinx and burst her down, but you have Wukong or Taric. I mean, Taric could just press R and make sure that Diana physically cannot play the video game.
Yeah, it's a rough one. And looking at these picks, I'm going to be honest, I don't see what the Zac ban was for. Whatsoever. Unless Graves has a secret horrible matchup against Zac.
I mean, maybe, but I honestly, and looking at Valpo's comp, I don't see a reason to run Zac.
Yeah. I mean, if there was any other jungler on Valpo's team, who would you have even considered putting in there? Maybe...
Honestly, they could have just played Sedge again.
Yeah.
I mean, that does inhibit the damage, though, that you're going to be back to Jinx and Syndra for most of your damage. So maybe, I mean, who else is pretty strong?
It'd be a bit cheesy, but you could do Warwick.
Maokai.
Maokai, yeah. Maokai's very, I mean, I'm sure he's been nerfed by now, but...
Nope. Still meta.
He's still broken.
Still
they
meta.
Just left him. They just left him there. You know what, buddy? You're good. You are Groot. You're good.
Someone else I'm seeing in the rise is Kindred. Seeing a rise of Kindred gameplay. So,
but then that would give you maybe too much range, so I could see not wanting to do that. I mean,
maybe, but I mean, the ultimate also would negate Diana from being able to physically do anything. So,
that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Anything else you're expecting out of these two teams? I mean, after watching Map 1, Valpo's team fighting really wasn't that bad. Their mid laner and AD carry were the strong suits, so I'm potentially going to be seeing Wukong path towards bot lane and get that Jinx ahead early. Yep. But I mean, Diana's going to be doing the same exact thing, so I'm expecting match clears here. I'm expecting
the Diana and the Graves.
Yep,
will both be roaming down.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You'll have a 4-man bot lane with the two obvious bot laners and the double man gank. It'll be can the Syndra either farm hard enough in the mid lane to negate the value that the Diana is getting by ganking, or keep her busy, keep her damage, force her to recall, force her to not be able to go for those kind of ganks? It's going to be a lot of pressure, like you said, on the Syndra, who mechanically has been putting in a lot of work, but now needs to also play very well as a team member without the rest of the team there and prevent the Diana from getting the value that she needs.
So Tiffin ran a very dive-heavy comp last time with the Jarvan. They had Syndra, they had Nautilus, Sivir, all that stuff. Things that can really heavily engage. Yep. Now you have to play into a Wukong Taric. So Wukong doesn't need to engage.
No.
He can sit back and press R when Diana and Poppy jump on him.
Yep.
And then, Taric does Taric things. Taric just exists.
Yeah. We like that guy. He's cool.
Taric is great.
He's a handsome young man.
Space Groove Taric, best skin.
What, in the game?
No, not in the game.
Okay, I was about to say.
No, the Spirit Blossom skins exist.
Yeah, but I mean, why would you want a Spirit Blossom skin when you can have Surprise Party Fiddlesticks? My personal bias, Renekton. I think just Renekton is funny. But
that would be my favorite skin in the game.
Now that we're on the topic, we might as well. Why set it to a break when we could talk about riveting topics like this?
I don't know what my favorite skin in the game would be. I like a lot of skins. I would probably say Spirit Blossom Aphelios. Really? It's probably my favorite skin in the game.
Okay.
And I rarely ever play Aphelios.
I understand. All right.
I just love the champion. For some reason, I just love Aphelios.
He does have nice aesthetics. I'll give him
that. His lore is pretty interesting, too.
I think Cafe Cutie's Bard is another really...
Oh, no. Cafe Cutie's Rumble takes the cake.
Oh, Cafe Cutie's Rumble's really good.
Cafe Cutie's Rumble.
I forgot that one just came out too. That's why I forgot about it.
And that one's pretty good. What else have I been running? Oh, Crime City Graves. That's
Crime
just
City Graves.
a staple.
And Crime City Rum.
Yeah. Get a little good old bank shield.
Yep.
Get the good old bank vault shield. Let's see. In the mid lane?
I do really like... This is a personal bias again. I do really like Star Guardian Akali. My favorite animal is the manta ray, so that's where that bias comes in. And also, Akali's one of my main champs, so that's where the bias also comes in.
I would say one of the Talia skins because I love Talia, but I don't think any of her skins are that good. The Star Guardian one's pretty good. The new one, Crystallis Modus, even though I'm not paying $50 to get 100 Mythic Essence to get the skin, is pretty good as well. But I would have to argue probably my favorite mid lane skin would be the new Coven Syndra.
Yeah, that's fair. Coven Syndra's a pretty good skin. Is there another like really good? I mean, I guess Akali I just said, but like Pantheon I don't think has a ton of really good skins.
Baker Pantheon.
Baker Pantheon. Yeah, there you go. Never mind.
You can't forget about. I call upon the gods. Give me bread.
I will get the bread.
All right, we are loaded up and on the rift for map number 2. Match point for Tiffin in this best of 3, and Valpo with their backs against the wall has got to win this one to stay out of the losers bracket. No invades this time. No cheeky invades. We had a Thresh last time, but they didn't choose to invade either. So just going to be standard 5-point. And I don't know about you, but this is just funny to look at.
What, just the Poppy?
No, all 5 of them are just staring at each other on the minimap like it's Connect
kind
4.
Of a perfect line, yeah. Okay, so this is entirely off topic, but another one that's really good is Astronaut Nautilus.
All the Astronaut skins are good.
All the Astronaut skins are really good.
If I had to rank, Spirit Blossom's the best, then Space Groove, then Astronaut.
I'll probably flip that. Astronaut, Space Groove, Spirit Blossom.
And we got Heartsteel coming out next week too, or it should be coming out next week.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
I don't think it'll be as good, but I agree. Oh, obviously,
Kane skin.
All the new skins.
You've got to get that Kane skin.
Yeah. All the new skins are really good, though. Anyways, enough about skins. Before we...
I was just about to get into Nidalee.
Oh, Nidalee, okay.
Nidalee has amazing skins. But yeah, back into the game. It is going to be the Poppy Top Diana mid, like we had mentioned, King Julian on the standard Graves, opting for the Scorch Claw, whereas Wukong going for a bit more tanky and tenacity because he is going to be playing a little bit of counter dive here as well. I'm going to be expecting the Yomu's build out of King Julian here, which is not actually going to be in favor. So personally, I would have liked to have seen the Moss Stomper come out with the Gore Drinker build on Graves here because you are playing into this Ornn, Wukong, Taric. You're not really going to be able to get onto that backline of Jakimbo and Dreadful and burst them down with the Assassin build.
Yep. Might as well just go all in on the tank busting rather than trying to commit onto something that's never going to be attainable, right? That's a good call. Sort of just standard neutral at this point. Nothing crazy so far. You know, nobody's actually really had any opportunities to make plays, so they're just not. Is that...
Well, bot lanes did hit level 2, but because they are weak-sided, neither one can really engage onto each other.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see a level 2 engage on a Tiffin, but a pool hit level 2 late, so not able to go in, and this Tark is essentially going to be able to negate any type of engage at all whatsoever. But what I think it's going to come down to is like we see these actually mirror jungle clears. Wukong ending in his top side was actually, no.
Yeah, Wukong ending in his, wait, no. Is this a late clear?
I think he's late clear.
Yeah, he's late clearing. He only has 12 CS.
Yep. Graves is going to be up. He's going to finish that bot side early, so he's going to get Scuttlebug advantage going into the first Drake, which is going to be a Hextech Drake. And I mean, it's not bad with a Graves Poppy Diana, but like, it's not that good either.
Yeah. I mean, you're saving the better Drakes for Cloud, right? Like, you're hoping you can get that.
Oh, yes.
Or the better Drakes for Soul, rather. Like, if you can get that Cloud, obviously, it'd be really great. If you could get, like, I think a Mountain Drake for Valpo would be really good. Just increasing that survivability even further, making sure that that front line is truly unbreakable and you can never get to that Syndra. And even if you do, she's got that little bit of extra survivability thanks to it. But you're saving the better Drakes for Soul, realistically, is what's happening at this rate.
Yeah, if I had to bet, this Hextech Dragon, I know individual dragons have been nerfed, so they're not as useful, but this Hextech Dragon would not be horrible on the side of Valpo because Taric and Syndra can just spam their abilities, and then Ornn and Wukong could just be sitting in there doing whatever they please. I mean, multiple unstops on Ornn is going to deny this this Nautilus on the side of a pool from being able to chain CC him.
Yep. And I think that's actually the double scuttle for the Graves. Like you said, the scuttle advantage, it's huge. It's a massive CS advantage. 10 CS advantage for the Graves. That's a really good early start for Valpo.
He's already got the serrated Dirk.
Yeah, already got the serrated Dirk. And even despite the double scuttle advantage, Valpo actually has a slight, but they have a gold lead thanks to the CS of simultaneously their bot laner and their top laner. The Ornn is currently 10 CS ahead of that Poppy.
Something I definitely want to point out, though, is this mid lane battle. Put our eyes on that a little bit, because Diana is not getting pushed back from the Syndra, but is actually doing the opposite. And not really what we'd be expecting from the heavy control mage of Syndra going up against the Diana, which is a melee laner.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage in the game, I think that if I'm Valpo, like as you said before, we have the better team fights. We can take our time. They have to be the ones who make plays into us. Yes, I would love to engage onto this Diana, get a little bit of chip damage like as you see there, but realistically, they can just take their, as long as they need, they can really take their time for this game.
Yeah, both people are going to end up poking each other out, and the Hextech Dragon has spawned on the map, but only mid lane prio for Tiffin right now. And honestly, I don't think you're in that rush to get this dragon, so I'm not expecting it to come maybe at around 9 minutes or so. Yeah. Let Sivir get a little bit more gold, a little bit more towards her items, shove out a wave faster than the Jinx can react, and then they push up for it.
A small thing, Wenlong has gotten their first CS in a few minutes. That's an early engage onto the mid lane.
Yep, that's going to end up forcing the flash out of blue right there, which is actually going to be huge for this dragon fight that's going to be upcoming. And level 6 advantage is going to be towards neither jungler, but King Julian is up in XP.
Yeah, and honestly, that should just be totally clear. It should make absolute sense. He did get that double scuttle, giving him that nice early on advantage, and now he might be setting up for a little bit of an assassination, but the Tarek thinks better of it, places down the ward, and just manages to get out with their life.
Yeah, honestly, a fight I don't think King Julian wanted to take there anyway, and actually, Tiffin, they're going to go ahead and start this Drake, as Julian is going to pull this one out. Diana has roamed down as well, but granted, she has no flash. And I don't think Valpo knows. Dragon's already at 3K, and Sivir is coming up as well. They're not on vision, so they're going to be able to sneak away with the first dragon of the game at 6 minutes.
A lot earlier than you said. You said you thought it would be happening at around 9, but that's still really good for Tiffin, given the fact that that gold lead is starting to still steamroll on the top lane. 62 to 29 CS is absolutely gargantuan in the top lane. Granted, he's got those biscuits keeping him healthy, keeping him alive pretty well, but still, the CS advantage on the top is absolutely mounting right now.
I mean, we talked about this in the draft. What is the Poppy going to do against the Ornn? And now he has this Balmy Cinder, so she has to go something like Divine Sunder in order to be able to fight this Ornn one-on-one and the top side, but they have no front line for Tiffin other than the Nautilus, so she needs to build tank almost.
Yeah, it's a rough situation. It's a catch-22 that Tiffin have put themselves in by, like we said earlier on, picking that Poppy, that pick, which didn't really have anything to warrant it, just that little bit too early. I probably would have guessed that Valpo were going to think about going on to something like, with this composition, maybe even a Rakan instead of the Tarek, maybe. Wouldn't be great, but this is still a very powerful champion. And with that Poppy pick, you're just like, you know what, screw it, we're just going to go Tarek, and you're never going to get through our front line.
I'm surprised we have not seen the Rakan come out. He's absolutely giga strong in the bot lane lately. But level advantage so far in Dreadful. He is up not by much CS really, but that Cole is going to help him, give him a little bit more of the gold lead. But so far, level advantage right now as the first Rift Herald has spawned, and Tiffin is in the jungle right now. But Jakimbo and Sneaky Vengeance, you know, they know that they're there. And actually, I'm not entirely sure about this, but I think that they're going to end up going for a fight. Julian's going to get caught out, forced to E and flash over the wall. The Diana ult's going to come down as well on to Jakimbo, and he's going to drop for quarter HP, and first blood goes over to the Poppy. I mean, we were giving it a lot of crap in draft and in the game so far, but she gets first blood of the game.
It might have been a little bit of a steal, but it still gets the value that you kind of need there. 42 CS isn't looking so bad when you can get a kill rather on top of it. So it's definitely starting to prove its worth a little bit more than we might have anticipated prior, especially considering the fact that when you look at the CS, even though the Poppy is behind, that Graves is 20 ahead, manages to get a pickaxe, manages to keep that Seraya Dirk. With this Rift Herald, probably going to be able to get at least 2 plates, irregardless of whatever happens to this top lane. The top lane basically does not matter right now.
Well, I mean, funny you say that because I actually think putting the Rift Herald topside would not be a bad idea here. You can get Wenlong ahead, and an ahead Poppy is not something you really want to have to deal with.
That's also assuming that the Poppy can push up to the turret.
That is true. That is true. So I'm going to expect it to be in the mid lane. Last time they placed it in the top lane, getting total fighting ahead, so that wouldn't be much of a bad idea here as well. But the Dragon's not up for 2 minutes, so I'm not expecting that Herald to come down for another 2 minutes. But yeah, the gold lead difference in the jungle is absolutely absurd, as the Graves is up at least 4 camps on this Wukong right now, and he's got the Sheen. It's looking like he wants to build Iceborne.
Yeah. That's probably what's going to be coming up. And again, we said that it was probably going to be a little bit more of a tanky Wukong, building more for that Bruiser playstyle that, you know, he is very good at using. So he does need to start to catch up a little bit on the CS for the Graves, who has been getting successful ganks and successful objective control and successful CSing, just absolutely like shredding down everything has been this Graves. And I think a little bit of an outplay has been what's going on in the jungle.
Well, Syndra has that lost chapter. She is starting to take a lead in CS like we were expecting in the draft against this Diana. So she's just going to be pushing a lot farther. So that's going to give a mid lane advantage to Valpo if they choose to go for this Infernal Dragon in about a minute. So, but this Rift Herald is going to be crucial where Julian puts it, because it does not matter if Blue Light's lane gets pushed in, because he could just one tap a wave of Blue Light, place the Rift Herald down, and then Snacky has to respond to that.
I think one thing that's super interesting that you brought up, Infernal is going to be the next dragon. So that means that that third dragon has a lot of good options for both of these teams.
Ocean, Cloud, Mountain.
Cloud, and I think Chem is another one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It would be pretty good, I think, for Tiffin in particular, right, to have that fire rate on the Graves, on the Diana, and on the Sivir. It wouldn't be so great for either of these teams necessarily, but it would be that nice little bit of a boost to just help out a little bit.
We're going to see Tiffin is already moving into the river. All the ultimates on every side so far, but Jakimbo does not have flash. Diana has ultimate. She can jump on this mid laner once again and absolutely shut her down. And so far, this mid lane is going to get pushed out, and Herald's going to come down. But they're greeting for the tower. They wanted to get the plates here potentially. That might actually hurt them, as Zakiven just goes in with the Wukong ultimate, and Sivir is forced to use her ult and goes in the meantime, and Diana goes in with a massive ultimate, but Tarek responds with the ultimate to shut that down. Blue Light is going to end up burning with the Ignite, does not take her out of the fight just yet, and that is looking like a fight in favor of Tiffin as they move towards this Infernal Dragon.
They're grinding this out, man. 1 kill at a time. That was an engage on 4 different people. You only get 1 kill. That's all you realistically need. You're playing super well right now if you're Tiffin. You're not playing super fast. You're not trying to greed in for some of these excessive kills. You're going to get the second Drake. You're going to be able to play off of that kill that you just got onto. I believe it was the mid laner.
Oh, Jinxel. Oh,
not quite. Close, but no cigar. And that is going to be the second dragon. Mountain, let's see what the soul has to offer.
Yeah, that's absolutely...
Cloud, that is a big one.
That is huge for Poppy and Graves.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, also great for the Sivir. So she has
Diana.
Ghost. She has Ghost and her ultimate. And Diana, you're not going to be able to run away from this Diana.
Yeah.
So a Cloud Soul for Tiffin, they are juicing over this dragon right now. They are absolutely going to fight for it. And Dreadful dying in that fight allowed Total Fighting to get a little bit more value. You know, he picks up an assist goal, not a kill just yet, so he's down a little bit in gold, but gets the XP off that fight, so he's potentially going to be looking to have an item lead here, and Diana getting a pick there is absolutely massive for Tiffin.
Yeah, it will be one of the first items in the game. Not quite the first. The Graves and the Syndra have already gotten items, as well as the Ornn. I'm kind of scanning through trying to find any other items, but I think that's about it. Yep, it's just the Graves and the Syndra and the Ornn who have gotten items so far, so this will be the 4th item in the game. Yep, most likely.
But there's a 40 gold lead so far in this jungle, and Graves has opted for a Collector early on.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. Typically, you want to go the Yomu so you can engage and run away from fights
But there's just
a
so
lot
many
quicker.
tanks, though.
But there's no need to go Yomu's first because your Syndra, your Diana and Sivir are going to put absolute massive amounts of damage. If you just press R, your Collector damage is going to execute anybody that's low on the side of Valpo. So there's no need to go the Yomu's first.
And like, I think if you're playing Graves here, I don't think there is any need to go for Yomu's at all. Especially if you can get a
go Eclipse.
Yeah, you could go Eclipse, right? Especially if you can get a single Cloud Drake, and before Valpo can get it, then you are sitting in a position to where you can just say, screw it. Why would I get Youmuu's? I'm just going to go to nuke this Tark, nuke this Ornn, nuke this Wukong.
Yep. This top lane CS is still getting completely out of hand. Like you mentioned, the Poppy is not able to push to the Ornn turret. Is down a little over 40, a little bit about 40 CS so far, but has the Iceborne on this, so it's going to get Mythic before the Ornn. Ornn's going to favor the Sunfire. So in the team fights, as the Sivir's going to be proccing hits onto the Ornn, he's going to be burning all the members of Tiffin. So that's what he's opting for first. But if Poppy can get one good engage, she procs that Iceborne Gauntlet onto Syndra and Dreadful, and then Diana is just going to have an absolute field day as they're not going to be run away. And with that Cloud Dragon, Iceborne plus Cloud Dragon means you're not getting away.
Yeah, I think even though this is a 2-0 game, the CS has kept it close enough to where I think this Cloud is probably going to determine this game. They can play for this Herald, maybe it'll get a kill, maybe Tiffin can get this third kill, the Graves caught out a little bit, but if they can get... The Dragon is the most important thing in this game right now, I think.
I agree. Tiffin already moving into the river, but Valpo has map control so far for the second Herald of the game. Tiffin ended up getting the first one, so Valpo wants to respond with the second one and swing the gold lead into their favor. But all the members from both teams, Poppy roaming around looking for a potential, you know, little bit of a flank. The only person not there for Tiffin is their AD carry. This could potentially be devastating for them as they do choose to back off. A little bit afraid of that Jinx. You know, she gets an assist and then she gets a little out of hand.
Yeah, you kind of got to respect that a little bit. If you go too hard, you will absolutely shredded. So good on them to just give that up, let them get this Herald. It's just one Herald. The Dragon is realistically what we're going to be playing for. Don't get over eager over this objective when there's a much more important one coming up. And we can still just take this time to keep our farming going and start to catch up a little bit, right? They have 5 people on Herald. That gives our Diana time to farm, our Sivir time to catch up and surpass on CS, our Poppy a little bit of time to farm and control that wave a tiny bit. Didn't quite catch up as much as the other lanes, but still, you're able to use that time to catch up on CS where it's kind of needed because you're still in the lead of kills, you're still in the lead of objectives. So that extra time to CS is huge.
Yep. Both AD carries going to have this Kraken Slayer, and Dragon's going to be online in about a minute here. Tiffin and Valpo taking respective turns, moving towards this river. It's interesting to see the Jakimbo's in the bot lane right now because he has the TP, so he could have moved top and potentially just went back to TP'd back to mid lane out of spawn once the Dragon came online. But TP's for both top laners though so far, and they both have their ultimate. The Herald's going to come down in the bot lane. The Scout of the Week's going to land onto a pool, but Tark is going to end up missing his stun. They're going to clear out a little bit of vision here. Total Fighting left alone to deal with this Rift Herald. Is forced to pop his ultimate because he felt a little bit in danger there that an engage was going to come down on him, and that's actually massive for Valpo in this Dragon fight.
I mean, yeah, but Tiffin do have most of the control over the space, even though it was nice. Nobody needs to recall, nobody needs to do anything crazy. The Poppy's still keeping this Ornn busy, so that ultimate is not going to be online. Ornn has one of the best ults in the game. I commit to saying I think it's a top 10 ult in the game. I think that is crazy.
I hate Poppy ult.
I hate Poppy ult, but Ornn ult is absurd. It can knock the entire enemy team up. It's just like... It's just an insane ultimate. I will stand by it until the day I die, so keeping that Ornn busy is a huge
You can't go wrong with this. Streamer Roller is going to be forced to use his flash. Does not get the ultimate off in time, and Diana with the ultimate is going to end up picking off this Tark, but Wukong engages with the ultimate to clean up the pick on to Snacky Vengeance, but they end up picking off this dreadful AD carry. He uses all of his sums and Blue Light, going on an absolute rampage, 3-0 so far, denying the Tark ult coming down, and Jinx was too far away to potentially benefit from it, and it went away after Diana dove on her, and that's going to end up being the third Dragon of the game for Tiffin.
And you have plenty of room and plenty of space to keep fighting in other lanes as well. This bot turret's about to go down. The turret can try, but the turret can also just go back. Yep, go home. They're going to just leave their Graves on the Dragon. He's going to be able to confirm it himself. Although I would have liked somebody to stay with him just in case. They still believe that it'll be enough. Poppy's still keeping that Ornn busy. I think it's the most pivotal thing. We said before, why pick the Poppy? I think that it's actually paying dividends right now. Keep the Ornn busy is kind of the main
cancel TP.
Yeah, she is one of the best top laners at keeping somebody just busy, and we're seeing that being proven right now.
Graves is going to be looking for a potential outing here as he's wrapping around from the chicken pit. Actually might end up getting caught out, lands the W and is ending up dodging the Tark ultimate, but Pool misses the, or not the ultimate, the stun.
No!
Actually, Jakimbo comes in and is going to land the Scout of the Weave, and a triple knock-up from Ania, making value on this one, but Poppy has an ultimate, so it does not matter.
That
is ridiculous. Landing the double. Here comes Diana.
What?
She's going to land an ultimate onto Jakimbo and Simo. She's looking to get a pick onto this Tark. Or not this Tark. This Syndrome is going to get the pick, actually. But Shutdown comes out from Snacky Vengeance and slays this Diana. But Wenlong, the Nautilus is going to knock him up and buy time for this Poppy to get her second kill of this game. And 4-1 on this Diana. This Poppy's 2-0. Tiffin is absolutely scaling to the max right now.
It's just an incredible team fight that Tiffin take there. They do lose that Diana to the Wukong. This is going to help him catch up. He's got the Divine Sunderer. He's still 60 CS behind, but that it
doesn't matter.
Yeah, the singular shutdown is enough to start to get him into the position where he can catch up on that gold, and he can start to keep up with the Graves. He has the Collector, but he's only got to be able to get the Berserker's Graves after that. And so, moving into this next fight, Valpo, they may be 3-8, but the gold lead is not that far away from them. They still did give up that dragon, so next dragon for Tiffin should be game. It should be over if they get this Cloud Soul without a single dragon going to Valpo.
And you're up against a Diana that has a 2-item power spike, and Graves only has to hit maybe 1 Q onto multiple members for this Diana to absolutely snap Valpo out of existence with her AP scaling and deny the time for Tark to get his ultimate down. And they're actually going to go for the Baron, and this is crucial because all of the members of Valpo do not have Flash.
Wow. That's actually huge. I didn't even realize that. To have 0 flash.
TP coming out from Ania. He has the Ornn ultimate in about 2 seconds. They're just looking to potentially flip this, and they're actually going to end up giving. They might move into the jungle for a potential pick here. Oh, a nice Roost. Out of the Week's going to come down, and Total Fighting is going to end up falling. That is the cue for Valpo to go in, and Snacky Vengeance goes in with the Wukong ultimate. A nice knockup's coming out, but the Ornn ultimate is going to land on the 3 people, and another knockup from Vengeance is going to get onto Blue Light, and he's looking to kill this mid laner of Diana and shut them down. And what looked like a Baron flip in favor of Tiffin is actually flipping in favor of Valpo.
See, even though they hit 3 with the Ornn ultimate, can't connect onto any of them with any follow-up, it still separates Blue Light enough for them to get that follow-up kill. The first kill onto Total Fighting meant the damage was low. They didn't have anything they could follow up on, so that extra bit of knockback, the extra bit of CC, allows them to keep that fight going, and now they're going to go even further!
Yeah, Tiffin not wanting to give this, even though I think they should have, and Wenlong falls for a shutdown, but they buy enough time for that Baron to reset and get their jungler back online. Julian is back on the map. Apu's going to land a hook onto Anya, but it might not actually matter as Jakimbo is going absolutely crazy on this Syndra and unleashes the power onto Julian and slays him. He's not stealing no Barons today.
They tried to get a little bit too greedy with their positioning. The Baron wasn't even going to drop that low that fast. So now they're playing in a position. The gold has evened up. The kills have evened up. They now get that Baron, which is a huge gold buff, as well as the obvious Baron buff. They should be able to end this game with that Baron, or at the very, I mean, maybe not end the game, but
no,
they
not
should
yet.
not literally, but effectively end the chances of Tiffin to have a reasonable out. The Cloud Drake is no longer in a position where getting that soul is a basically guaranteed win. Now it's just evening the game back up for them.
You say that, but I have a feeling Tiffin gets this soul. It's not going to be good for Valpo. Yes, they have the Baron buff, but they're still down on items so far. Syndra forced to build the Zhonya's in order to deny this Diana from being able to burst her, whereas Diana's going to have a little bit more AP than Syndra with the 2 AP items, but, you know, Syndra's got the 10 Dark Seal stacks, so she's got her passive stacks, so she's going to be doing a little bit of damage. Jakimbo showing work last map and absolutely putting in work this map as well, but I don't count out this Cloud Dragon just yet.
No.
I think that if Tiffin somehow is able to get this, they can stall out for the long game.
Oh, absolutely. But you're definitely in that position now where you have to stall out in the long game, right?
Also, Poppy is coming to this Dragon fight.
Yeah. That is...
Poppy ultimate exists.
Yeah, that is always able to just end the Dragon fight right there and just guarantee the fight for Tiffin. But it is so reliant. Now, before Tiffin would have liked to get that soul to end it a little quickly, now I think Tiffin have to get this soul just to
100%.
stay in the game. That is the position that they put themselves in. It's only 10 seconds until this dragon spawns, and both teams are entirely set up for this.
Well, we have ultimates from everybody on both sides. Nothing really end up missing, so we're going to have a macro fight here. Who's going to end up engaging first? Wenlong has the ultimate, so he can push out multiple members and allow Diana to get on to the backline of Valpo if they do use to pop it. If I was Tiffin, though, I'd pop it after the Tarek uses his ultimate to get them out of that fight. Dragon going back and forth down to 6k health. That's blue light. He flashes in, and it's a nice triple ultimate. But the Orioles is going to land on the 2 members, and Syndra is going to get a kill with Dreadful. Dreadful's going insane. He has the passive procs. He's going to get a triple kill here. He's looking to get the quadra kill, and he does not get it as Ania steals the kill. That's an ace for Tiffin, and they're going to stop this Dragon Soul in its tracks.
Valpo absolutely crushed the fight. It comes down partially to that Orn ultimate I've been hyping up throughout the whole game, hitting out to like 4 people, but also the Diana engage goes so sour. They flash in to try to make something happen, and they immediately get punished for it with a lot of damage, obviously, and they just can't convert anything off of it. In fact, the Diana goes down. That's so much of your damage, so much of your pressure. Losing that early, like, I'm pretty sure they didn't even use that Rocket Belt to engage. I think that the Rocket Belt went completely unused, missing out so much of the utility of Rocket Belt, which is that additional damage and additional mobility, just completely gone, and using the flash to engage means that Diana is making that fight a 4v5.
She can't flash out.
She can't flash out. You're getting greedy, and you're giving the fight effectively free for Valpo, and that is the first Dragon Online for Valpo. This could be a 4-cloud game.
Yep, and then let's bring it over to the junglers real quick, because most of them having massive impacts, as King Julian ended up getting the first pick of that fight off of his Diana's ultimate. Both of them have 2 items though, but Julian has opted for the Stride Breaker, which kind of makes sense when you're going up against the Wukong Jinx, but also, I mean, I feel like if you just had the Gore Drinker there, maybe, you live a little bit longer, put out a little bit more damage, and potentially turn the fight in your favor.
I think it might be trying to force a fight, like force wins with it a little bit more, rather than, I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure. I'm a little bit.
I mean, to me, it makes sense against the Wukong Jinx, but other than that, I don't see the point for it.
I mean, you were probably identifying those 2 as probably 2 of the biggest win cons for Valpo, right? Every time this Wukong has engaged, it's gone huge for Valpo. They're able to follow up on it. Like we said at the start of this game, their team fights are just excessive, and so is that Syndra damage. That was a Poppy taking a third of her HP bar off of just a Syndra.
I also want to point out in this top lane battle, because the CS has gone astronomical, and you know, Ania not dying and being the absolute tank that he is with those 8 assists and 2 kills of his own, actually. He has 3 items, whereas Poppy still only has the Iceborne.
Yeah, building up to that 3rd item very slowly. it's
second item.
Or second.
Doesn't even have a second item.
Sorry. My brain was like, oh, boots. But yeah, no, building up to the 2nd item so slow going is, I mean, I think one thing, it comes down a little bit to the CS advantage that Valpo established early, which helped them stay in the game when they looked like they were going to be going down. They were able to keep farming when they were losing players and take advantage of the plays that Tiffin were making.
We are still at a soul point here, folks, and 1 minute till the Baron procs, but 2 minutes until that Dragon proc. So Tiffin's game plan here, you know, stall out this Baron, don't let Valpo start it early, let this Dragon spawn, and they can trade a Baron for a Dragon, you know, let Valpo go up 2 Dragons, and then they can swing this gold lead back into their favor off of a Baron buff, and that's essentially their win coming back into this game.
I don't know if you can do that, though. I don't know if you can give a second Cloud Drake to this team. Like, that is such a big advantage to have 2 Cloud Drakes. Out of all the dragons, Cloud is, I think, widely agreed upon, at least from my perspective, to be the single best Drake in the game. By a wide margin. Speed in this game is everything. Speed in every game is everything. But having the additional speed of 2 Cloud Drakes compared to 1 is huge. And I don't know if that's worth giving up for a gold lead and Baron.
I feel like they have no choice, though. They can't afford to give this Baron to Valpo. They cannot afford the gold lead to dwindle even more. So I feel like they're in a state where they have no choice. So playing for the long haul is a little bit better than trading this out, as we're going to see a potential engage here.
Wow.
The Orange going to use his ultimate, but a pool is already a quarter of HP, and Vengeance goes in with the ultimate. He's going to get that pick. He's looking for more. Another double knockup as Jakimbo is going to Sonya's. That engage from Diana, and a double kill for this Wukong. Poppy ends up falling, and that is going to be Baron for Valpo. And honestly, I don't see any way Tiffin can still potentially win this game.
We're going to game 3. It's just objective at this point. Blue Light took a ton of damage out of nowhere. I didn't even see where the damage came from. Blue Light just took like 80% of their health bar. They saw an opportunity with the Ornal because Diana is not going to be able to do anything. We're seeing the weaknesses of Tiffin's composition fully hold them back now. The team fighting advantage that Valpo has is absurd. They have such an impenetrable front line. They have a ton of CC. They have a ton of presence in these mid fights. Whereas Tiffin are so reliant on individual playmaking that they haven't been able to at all. Meanwhile, it all comes back to the composition. This Poppy, which feels so out of place when staring at Valpo and when staring at Tiffin, what does it do? It just knocks back the Ornn, who isn't that much of a threat. It can knock back the Wukong, although you got a 50-50 chance of that half the time. So it all comes down to the compositions at hand, and I think Tiffin's is just what's realistically the problem right now.
This is Tiffin's team fight to win. The Taric ultimate is on cooldown, and they have all of their ultimates. But Scattered Link's going to come down and do a massive chunk to a Pool and Julian, so they need to go and fight. If they want to take a fight for this dragon, they need to do it now before this Taric ult comes online. But a Pool is already going to be half HP. A Blue Light is actually going to end up getting caught out in the river. He's forced to use his ultimate, but he is going to end up falling anyway, as Ania lands a nice double knockup. Unleashed Power comes on a win long. It's not going to get the shutdown just yet. No execute proc as Total Fighting is forced to use Ghost, ult, flash, everything in order to barely keep his team alive. And it's just a little bit of a macro positioning mistakes there.
Just so small. This composition is not able to find nearly as much as it should. I hate ragging on two things. The only two things it feels like I'm talking about half the time is who has the gold lead and which composition's better. But it ultimately feels like the composition is what's letting Tiffin down right now. They're not playing terribly, but they have to play it a certain way that makes it look terrible because of how their composition is built. This Baron was most likely going to seal the game, even if it doesn't literally end the game with Baron buff. They're going to get at least one inhibitor. They're going to get a few of these turrets. They're going to just fully send it. This dragon probably, or this not dragon, but this turret at the top probably doesn't even need a minion wave on it to just break it.
The gold lead has grown exponentially to almost 12k. All Valpo has to do is just force a fight and they can end the game through mid.
Yeah.
That's literally all they have to do. So we're going to see how they decide to do that. I mean, we don't have objectives for about 4 minutes. I would like to see Valpo force a fight before an objective. They should know they can win a fight. They have a 3-item power spike in their mid laner with Syndra. She's got the Rabadon's death cap. Dreadful is putting in absolute work. Dreadful's putting in work. You have a 3-item Wukong. There's just no way you can lose a team fight unless somehow miraculously somebody makes a mistake.
So here's what I think is the win con for a single fight. You have to poppy ult 3 people. That's it. That's your win con at this point. You have to, I think if you poppy ult the Ornn, the Wukong, and any of the other 3, then you're in a winnable situation. That's what it takes at this point. We have gone from if you can trade Dragon for Baron to if you can hit these exact dominoes, then you win.
I actually think that they need to get rid of Steamroller.
Yeah?
If you poppy ult this Taric away, Valpo's team fighting is not going to be, it's actually going to be on point with Tiffin's. Tiffin's going to have a little bit of an equal footing because this Taric can sit there, he doesn't die, and he just spams Q. So
yeah.
None of his teammates are going to die because they're all healing, and he can spam a stun every 2 seconds. So if you get rid of this Taric with the Poppy ultimate, you're going to be on even footing ground to win a 5v4.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you can solo ult the Taric, I still don't think that wins them the fight, but it puts them in a situation to trade. And I don't see a situation where trading here is good enough at this point. Like, unless you can... Actually, there are a lot of shutdowns available, so maybe if you can trade specifically, it has to
all
be
of them? Trade all of them?
I mean, yeah, ideally. But I think the 2 most important kills are the ones that have been highlighted the most. The Syndra of Jakimbo and this Jinx of Dreadful. That is 1,400 gold just begging to be taken by Tiffin. If you can get one of those 2 kills, specifically if your Sivir can get one of those 2 kills, you are back in this game. I think those are the 2 most important kills. If you can poppy ult the Taric, then kill one of those 2, then live, or then trade with the Syndra, that's it. That or ult 3 of them away with your poppy and then kill the other 2. Like, those are the... We're starting to reach single digit, like the Doctor Strange multiverse. That's where we're at. Like, I'm looking into the future. I'm not seeing a lot of options.
Well, speaking of looking to the future, it's not looking like anybody wants to fight until an objective comes out, which is a little boring. But, you know, that's what we do in NA.
Yeah, it's not about what's boring, it's about what's optimal.
Yeah, we farm until an objective comes, and then we fight, and then we all die, and then nobody gets the objective. You know?
Yep.
And then we do it again.
Yep. Good to know that North American esports, no matter what game it is, it's just...
Slow.
slow.
It's just slow, unless you watch Fortnite.
Anyways.
And the OG map came back today. OG Season 1 Fortnite map. You gotta have a little bit of respect for it. It wasn't bad.
You know, I'm just gonna let that one sit for a second.
It wasn't bad. I'll die on that hill. It was not bad.
I'll let that one sit.
I miss playing on Tilted Towers with my minigun and just burning down all the buildings because people would hide.
Yeah. I'm glad that you get to relive these memories, but there is one positive that I can outright say for Tiffin. Your ADC is not negative at all. You're 2-2-5 on the Sivir, which is a very small thing to be positive about, but she's managed to survive and keep up a CS lead, a lot of damage.
Syndra hurts.
Yeah. And this champion hasn't been nerfed?
No.
No? All right. Love you, Riot.
I feel like Orianna needs more of an nerf than Syndra at the moment, though.
Oh, yeah.
Syndra is meant to be a 40-minute champion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Orianna is not supposed to one-shot someone 10 minutes into the game.
That is a good point.
Baron is going to be started from Tiffin here. Scout of the Week's not going to get a stun out just yet as Wellingard goes in with the dash. It's going to land a knock-up onto Jakimbo. The Ornald's going to come in, and blue team does get this Baron Asher. Julian goes over the wall trying to live, but the members of Tiffin are just dying left and right. Julian, the last one alive, but he might as well be dead because he has no HP. The Super Mega Death Rocket gonna go wide, and honestly, Valpo, just run it down mid and end the game.
It's too much, man. The gold lead that has been accumulated, it has gone too far for too long. Valpo effectively have it on a silver platter. Baron buff means that this Orin can just walk in. That's 3 turret shots, not even missing 1,000 health yet, 4, 5.
I mean, who needs a minion wave when you have an Orin?
Yeah. I mean, this is like the back in the tank meta when you could see people just tank 14 turret shots and be totally fine, except they're just so fed that you might as well be able to do it anyways. This is the end of Game 2. We'll be moving into Game 3, evened up.
Yeah, it looks like that, you know, it was a very close game between Valpo and Tiffin last time, so they made some minute changes within the draft pool. They gave their jungler a bit more of a carry champion, someone that has a lot of engage prio and can deny a dive engage on this Wukong. So I think that moved into their favor. They shut down the heavy dive comp that Tiffin wants to be rolling for here. And honestly, Jakimbo and Dreadful put on a performance last game, so all they had to do was just do it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think, if nothing else, for Tiffin, this is information. Like, if nothing else, if I'm Tiffin now, I'm like, all right, so we just won last game. It was even. We lost this game, which is not quite even, but we have an opportunity now to adjust. We know exactly what their strengths are and where we need to pick ban. So now we get to go into this next game, and we get to have the information of exactly what's going on here. Like, now we know where their strengths were lying to a T, and I think that their pick ban can be a little bit more precise. Hopefully we don't see another thing like the early Poppy.
Yep, it is going to be headed to a Game 3, but it wouldn't be a quarterfinals without a Game 3. So we're going to head it on over to a break while we wait for these two teams to get back in the draft, and we will see you very shortly. All right, everybody, and welcome back. We have map number 3 on the way. I'm going to be solo this time, so I'm going to do my best to give you guys the best performance that I possibly can, and hopefully this goes smoothly. It's probably going to be a lot more dead air, as I typically, as you guys can tell, scream and shout at the camera. So it's going to be, I don't really typically do the analyzing. I'll try to give my best thoughts here and there where I can, but both bans looking about similar. Valpo almost having the exact same bans as last time, and so Tiffin opting for an Ornn and Braum ban, and this time also Ezreal. So this is going to be interesting to see. Maybe Valpo has some map 3 strategy that they like to pull out, and so this could be targeted towards that. But Tiffin going to get the jinx this time. So they're tired of giving Dreadful that dreadful AD carry, pun intended there. So he's absolute menace on the jinx so far this game. And Ashe coming out for Valpo. So great AD carry, you know. She pairs very well with the Braum, so that's an interesting ban choice, you know. Like, or not really ban choice, a great ban choice for Tiffin. My bad. So not going to be able to get that Ashe Braum. I'm going to be excited to see a Rakan come out here, maybe. I would like to see a Rakan come out as Malphite comes down. This could be a mid or top pick. We've seen AP Malphite mid before. That is a thing. It's not impossible. But this might be catered a bit more towards the Malphite, or to the top lane, but that's going to be interesting because I feel like that's a little bit early. So they could stack a lot more magic damage in order to negate this Malphite's scaling capabilities. So we're going to see what the next 2 picks for Tiffin are. They're opting for the Mordekaiser like they had in game 1, putting Wenlong back on that top carry. They're going to be expecting this Malphite to be top lane. So that Mordekaiser can take Malphite out of the game, actually, and be extremely beneficial for this Jinx in the bot lane. Allow her to essentially do whatever she pleases. We're going to see what Tiffin decides to pick next. I'm expecting some type of... they haven't been picking supports very early yet. Yep, going to be that mid lane Syndra ban. Or it's not ban, pick. So that's a really strong pick right now. They want to keep that, in fact. And we're going to see Asol hover and lock. Asol has been locked in for Valpo. So this is what I'm assuming, because it has been banned before, is a pocket pick. So very, very heavy scaling for Valpo. They want a game to go to 40 minutes like last time. Graves is going to be banned from Valpo, which is interesting because they played the Graves last time, and I think Graves would not be too bad with a Malphite comp here. But they don't want to give that over to Tiffin. Graves would be actually pretty good with Tiffin's comp as well. I mean, Graves is just good in general. And they want to go ahead and ban the Taric. Now, what this tells me is that they want some form of jungle support dive. They're going to maybe, Diana Jungle could come out. But I'm expecting some form of jungle support dive potentially. Because, I mean, there's not really too much that counters the dive out of Valpo just yet. Bans are going to be finishing up here. Kindred's coming out as well. And then we're going to see what Tiffin decides for their last ban. They haven't banned the Jace yet, but I mean, they have picked their mid lane of Ace also. It's going to be a Milio ban. Milio actually something that has been paired with Ashe a lot, and Milio can negate a lot of the CC so far that Syndra has. She gets a massive scatter of the week, and Milio could just, negate all of that. So it's going to be Maokai, so I'm expecting this to be jungle. Yep, it's going to be a Malphite top, what I'm assuming here. Maokai jungle. Lots of scaling for Valpo. They want to play for the late game. They do not want to play early. And Tiffin, so far in the bot lane, they kind of want to play late game, bot lane, between bot and mid lane, so they kind of want to play late game. But Mordekaiser, he's going to be strong throughout the entire game, no matter what, anyway. Alistar. This is actually a pretty interesting pick. I can negate Malphite's dive in. Asol could also kind of dive in, so he can headbutt this Asol away. But I feel like, I don't know. I kind of feel like I wanted to see a Rakan a little bit better. But I mean, I guess this gives more of a front line. You have Malzahar, or Mordekaiser, and Alistar now as a front line. So that's pretty good. Trundle could come out from Tiffin. I think this is actually a really good jungle pick because you're into Maokai and Malphite, so he can essentially just do whatever he pleases. And a Bard hover so far for Valpo. We've only seen them on. I'm pretty sure we've only seen them on engaged supports tonight so far. So it's going to be just seeing if they decide to go ahead and lock that in. And they will. So we got a Bard coming out in the bot lane. I really don't know how I feel about Valpo's comp. They obviously want to play the game till 40 minutes. But Tiffin kind of does as well, but does it a tad bit better. Jinx is a little bit stronger than Ashe. Mordekaiser is going to be stronger than Malphite in the end because he can just ult him, take his tank stats, and 1v1 him in the Shadow Realm, but can also, with that passive, 1v9 the game because he's a Mordekaiser. Syndra is not really going to outscale Asol, but I don't think it's going to matter because Syndra can burst down Asol very, very effectively. And Alistar can negate the dive in from Malphite and Asol. So Trundle's going to do Trundle things. He'll fall off a little bit towards the end, but I mean, all he has to do is ult somebody and he'll get value anyway. So, but not really much else to really talk about here. I'm a little bit more in favor of Tiffin's comp than Valpo's comp, but it's map number 3. This quarterfinals loser goes to the losers bracket. I have not been updated on who has lost the games yet, so I don't know who they would be going up against later. So going to be interesting to see who takes away this game tonight. But I'm going to go ahead and throw it over into a break so I can get a break. So I can get a break talking. And yeah, we'll see you as soon as we get onto the Rift. All right, we are out and on the Rift right now. Map number 3, match point for both of these teams. Losers goes to the loser brackets. Winner advances to the semifinals. That will be happening later. Valpo and Tiffin, so far neck and neck. I have to say, either team could have taken either one of these two maps that have happened. But once again, you know, just opting for good old 5 point.
Minions have spawned.
I'm seeing matched clears or mirrored clears so far between the junglers, so they're both going to be pathing towards these weak-sided bot lanes. Pick I'm really excited for is this Bard. I'm excited to see what Steamroller can do on the Bard. It's going to be absolutely insane to watch. And we're going to see that Vengeance has been swapped out for Vector as well in the jungle. But everything else has been the same. I have no clue what I'm going to talk about to fill the gaps, but yeah, we're going to kind of just roll with it. Level 2 advantage going in favor of Tiffin, but once again, Valpo is able to back off and play safe in order to deny an engage, and they're just going to wait for their level 2 themselves. Maokai is actually just now finishing his Krug, so he's going to be a little late in terms of clear speed to this bot lane, so this should be a first scuttle going in favor of Julian, and a potential gank as well. He can gank. I mean, his bot lane should be about level 3, but he could look for an early gank as well. Oh, CFL Vector actually does get invaded by the jungle. So he's... Nah, it's fine. He's going to absolutely be denied these bot camps, and that's going to go in favor of Julian. So going to give him a little bit of a lead in this farm. And I believe he gets bot scuttle as well. So Julian going to be looking in an absolutely insane spot so far for this late game haul. Looking for a potential invade, but unless he flash W is not really going to be able to get on to Wenlong, and you are playing a Mordecai, so he can 1v2 whenever he pleases. I'm expecting to see this Jinx kind of run away with a CS lead here in the bot lane. We're not going to have the Sivir Jinx duo like we've been seeing, or matchup like we've been seeing so far in these 3 maps. But, so I'm expecting the Jinx to run away a little bit in the CS department until Ashe can get her Noon Quiver where she can start shoving out as well. Oh, a flash from Ania trying to get a first pick on the Wenlong, but Wenlong's just going to turn around and bop him on the head with the Mordekaiser Hammer and telling him, nope, sit down. I'm going to get first blood of the game. You're not going to get the best of me. That Mordekaiser W, absolutely insane of a skill. This top lane looking in favor of Tiffin already up the gate here. First dragon is going to be up. So far, it's looking like Tiffin has the early map control. Vector is a little low HP, and Juliana might know this. He's looking for an invade. Gonna take the Gromp. Actually, looking like Vector actually ended up getting the Gromp at the end with the smite timing. Gets that Gromp, but this could open up Dragon for free for Tiffin, as they're gonna go ahead and start it with Julian and a pool, and yeah, that's going to be a, what I believe is an Infernal Dragon, the first dragon of the game. Going in favor of Tiffin. Going to be really good for the late game when it comes to this Syndra and Jinx team fighting with, even Mordekaiser as well, with the Infernal Dragon. First Herald is going to be on the map here in 30 seconds, and Vector has already moved toward that top side, but he does not have really a mid and top prio, so it's not going to be really easy for him to move towards that. And Trundle is already based and is going to be pathing toward the top side. Syndra can shove out the mid lane as Jikimbo is backing, and they can move towards this Rift Herald if they so choose to go for it. Mordekaiser has his ultimate, so he can essentially fight whoever he wants on top of this objective. So far, gold lead over for Tiffin as we're approaching 10 minutes into the game. That's mostly going to come from the top lane kill, as well as, honestly, CS prio in every single lane so far. So that's going to ever so further this gold lead. Dreadful lands a couple empowered autos onto a pool, you know, just damaging him out a bit. But Julian actually going to start the Rift Herald here, but Vector should know this. There's a control ward in the pit. Doesn't really have the position. Oh my Jesus, we missed it. But somehow, total fighting in a pool. They were fighting in the bot lane, and a pool comes up with a double kill. Really gonna wish he gave those kills over to Dreadful, but in the end, it might not end up mattering, as both bot laners from Valpo has died, and this Rift Herald is going to die in favor of Tiffin as well. Really strong early game. I mean, like I said in the draft, Valpo, they want to play till about 40 minutes, but if it keeps going at this pace, this game is not going to make it to 40 minutes. Tiffin is going to end a lot sooner. Vector going to be behind about 3 camps in clear, which is going to make a lot of difference when it comes to this first item. Blue Light with the Scatter of the Week going to get a nice chunk on to Jakimbo. Jakimbo, you know, performed wonders in the first 2 maps, but he's going to have an absolute performance on this ASOL later into the game if he wants to bring, his team back. Well, they're not really behind right now, but if they get behind, which, I mean, right now they're down about 3k gold, so nice knockup's going to come out from a pool. He's looking to land the stun. Stun is going to come down. The Chompers are going to end up going wide as he's able to just flash that out. Julian's going to end up getting rooted from the Maokai ultimate, and Vepo, you know, they're looking for some type of way to turn this team fight in their favor, but the support is just too weak. A pool looking for potentially another engage, but Vector just hanging around, denying the gank, the regank from Julian, and Dragon is going to be up in about 30 seconds, and it is a Chemtech Dragon, so this is not a bad solo one, so that leaves the soul options on the board for another Cloud Soul. We could get another Cloud Soul, we could get a Hextech Soul. Actually, no, I don't think we can get a Hextech Soul because we have Chemtech Drag. So, Oceans is a possibility, Mountain is still a possibility. Have not seen a Mountain Drake yet so far today. Vector maybe potentially caught out here. The pillar's going to come down, but he's going to be able to get away just a little bit too fast for the Trundle Alistar. But this Jinx is roaming up right now, and Tiffin has already started this dragon. It's already 4,000 HP. They're looking to just burst it, get the dragon, and potentially get out. And it's looking like Valpo wants to give it as well. So Chemtech will end up falling, and we're going to be having a Cloud Soul, which is going to be absolutely menacing once again for Tiffin, as they have a Mordekaiser and a Jinx, and even potentially the Alistar. You're not going to be able to run away from this Moo Cow. Nice knockup engage coming out from a pool. The Chomper's going to land as well, and the stun and the Super Mega Death Rocket are going to give Dreadful his first kill. Or not Dreadful, Total Fighting his first kill of the game. Sorry, I've been casting Dreadful on Jinx the entire night. I don't need, my brain just is on autopilot. King Julian is going to drop this Rift Herald in the bot lane, and Jakimbo is in there in the meantime to help try and stall things out. Gonna clear up that wave. Stealing a little bit of gold from Dreadful, but you know, that's what happens.
Turret plate will fall soon.
Not going to be able to get the control ward Bard. You know, force the tunnel out. Pool's going to trade a ward for himself there. You know, get him a little bit of vision in that river. Still massive gold leads, though, in favor of all the members of Tiffin, as the gold lead is raised to almost 4K here. Strictly based off kills. I mean, you got 2 kills on to the... 2 kills onto the Alistar, 1 kill onto the Jinx, 1 kill. This top laner, Wenlong, who's going to have his Riftmaker online now. So it comes down to this heavy CS lead that Wenlong and Blue Light are holding over their opponents, and honestly, even Total Fighting as well. He's got a good CS lead that he can maintain as well. And King Julian, you know, he's up about 4 camps onto Vector, so they can maintain this gold lead. It's going to be looking good for them in the long haul.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Second Rift Herald of the game is going to come online here. And right now, Valpo has the better positioning, but maybe Tiffin has the better chance. You know, and Ania is going to actually opt to just leave this wave alone, but so will Wenlong. Wenlong has the advantage anyway in that top side when it comes to wave prio, and they're going to roam down to this Rift Herald. We're going to get our first potential team fight of the game. Here's Kimbo, you know, he's got the Falling Stars, and Maokai is going to use his ultimate right off the gate, but Vector's already chunked to a quarter of HP as Julian has popped this Chun ultimate, and Blue Light Flame Steamroller. So far, it's a 5v4. Make that a 4v3 so far, 4v2 so far in favor. The total fighting is going to get a pick before he is able to fall. Dreadful trying to come and bring this fight back for his team. Blue Light's going to miss his Scout of the Week, but a pillar is going to make sure that Dreadful is not able to escape. And it's looking like, you know, oh, Julian got the Rift Herald in the meantime as well. And that is an insane fight so far for Tiffin. This is going to be almost probably an immediate pop in the mid lane. Drop this mid tower, give plating over to Blue Light, and let him permascale. 8-1 so far, and the gold lead has risen to 6k, but a Bard ultimate is going to stop the Rift Herald Slam from being able to kill the turret. Absolutely insane from Steamroller, coming back from death just in the matter of time to stop this macro play, but this gold lead is just growing even more and more. It's only 30 seconds till the first Cloud Drake, and right now, I'm not seeing how Valpo is going to be able to win this. The Falling Stars ultimate from Asol didn't do as much damage as they needed it to do. And Syndra has this Leandries, you know, Riftmaker on the Mordekaiser. He could essentially 1v1 anybody in the game. And Syndra's going to be putting out way more burst damage than Asol right now. Dragon is up, and all the members of Tiffin are already in the area, and they're going to go ahead and start it. They have the burst damage. I mean, you got Mordekaiser there, Syndra, and Jinx, and it's already about 5k HP. Valpo not going to have enough time to get into this Dragon Pit and contest, and that's going to be sole point for Tiffin. They have about a 6k gold lead. They have dwindled a little bit. It was 7k not that long ago, but they might be looking for just an immediate fight. They want to get this mid lane turret down and progress further into the game. Interesting that Wenlong didn't opt for the ult onto Ania there while he was under his tower. You know, he could have went for a pick. But, I mean, Ania probably could have also used his ultimate to dash away, but the Mordekaiser ult would have just canceled, and then he would still have it, and then Ania wouldn't have his ultimate. So that would have been a good trade-off. Nothing really on the map just yet to fight for, as this Baron is about to spawn. And Valpo's in the area, but they've lost the last 3 team fights, so they've dwindled the gold lead to about 6k still, so well, that's consistent 6k. Jinx is about even. I mean, she has the BF sword up over this Ashe, but Ashe has Ashe Arrow. They're looking to kill this mid tower and then maybe potentially move towards the dragon. Nice double stun from Bard. He might throw an ultimate onto this turret. Nope. Going to go ahead and give that, and then Tiffin is going to move straight to the Baron. They don't have to worry about a thing. Asol's in the bot lane, but he's going to have to move up, and they could look. No, they're not actually going to end up starting it. You know, baiting us a little bit. You see the pings coming on the top lane. Oh, Bard's actually going to end up backing off. I was expecting potentially a 3-man dive onto Wenlong on this Mordekaiser, but I mean, not really something you want to do because I mean, Mordekaiser wins a 1v1 against essentially a lot of the members so far on Valpo. And he can just heal up after the fight, but they might commit to this. And no, they're just going to leave Acel there. Ooh, potential cuts out a victory. The pillar's going to come down. The Chompers block his exit, and Julian commits the ultimate to that, and that's actually massive because the dragon is up in 20 seconds and the jungler isn't up until 30. So this is looking like, honestly, a free soul for Tiffin, and they're already up 8k gold. Oh, nice scout of the week's gonna come down on the Dreadful. Blue Light potentially not thinking he has enough damage. He misses the Q even though he flashes for it, and he'll actually end up getting punished as the execute from the Unleashed power is not enough to kill a half HP Dreadful. Super Mega Death Rocket is gonna end up going wide, but it does not really matter. I mean, that's a great shutdown for the Ashe, but that's, I mean, you lose your mid laner for your soul, so it's not really... It's not a great play from Tiffin. I think Blue Light got a little, he's limit testing a little bit, but they got soul point. Scoreline's 92, gold lead is still 6k, and somehow Valpo has to find the answer to come back in this game. And it's going to have to be at 30 minutes plus. Julian potentially caught out here as well. They want to go for another pick off onto a member of Tiffin. He does get Bard stunned, but he's going to be able to get out anyway. Oh, Dreadful committing the ghost there. Very interesting. Maybe he thought he was going to get dove on, or Tiffin was going to commit to a fight, but that is not the case. Oh, Julian looking like he wants to commit to this, but he's going to be able to tunnel the Bard away, and that's going to open up space on the map, but then move it to this Baron. I mean, Tiffin, they're strong enough. They could look for a potential flip if they want to go for it, and it's looking like that is what they want to do, while Apul and Julian can end up, they can zone here. The jungler does not have to be in the pit hitting the dragon when you have a Mordekaiser with a passive. I'm going to see how Valpo is able to respond to this. They have a lot of ultimates online, so it's just going to come down to the team fight and what Chikimbo can do on this ace. So Apul's going to go in, land a massive 3-man knockup. Scout of the Week's going to come down and land a stun onto 2 members, but Wenlong has fallen, and that's a massive amount of damage for Tiffin. Gone, but King Julian responds with total fighting onto a pick, onto Vector, but they're going to end up dropping as the falling stars come down, but it might not matter as they are all falling from Valpo. Jinx is going absolutely crazy, trying to run down this Chikimbo, but Chikimbo does a little bit more damage than Total Fighting thought he was going to be able to do. And honestly, it's looking like Valpo might win this fight with the 2v2, but not going to be the case as Tiffin is not going to commit to the fight. And Wenlong dying there was a big pick for Valpo when it comes to that fight, because that Mordekaiser ult was out of the game. Oh, they're looking to re-engage here. Valpo, they were forced to potentially say as the TP's going to come out from Wenlong, but you're not going to catch up to that Aesol. Bard, you know, he's going to have another tunnel in about 3 seconds, so he could be able to potentially get out. Oh, Julian, no, they're going to go ahead and just start the Baron. They're potentially wanting to flip this. Blue Light's going to end up TPing in while the Bard does end up falling. So it's going to be a 5v4. Mordekaiser has his ultimate on the line. Julian has his ultimate as well. So Vector not having this wild card to actually really use as he gets going to get blast coned over the wall and rooted, and he's stuck in the pit. And Syndra's going to get that Baron for Tiffin. Vector not really in a position to be able to get out, and Wenlong is going to get that pick as well. And this could be potential just shove in the mid lane and go for that tier 2 turret. Gold lead has risen to almost about 10k here. We're sitting at about 9k in favor of Tiffin. They're up 14-5, 26 minutes in. So Valpo wanting to play for the long game. Like I said, this game, I don't even know if it's going to make it to the long game. But so far, they've been stalling out as much as they possibly can. This Elder isn't online for 2 minutes, so that's going to be Valpo's win con. They somehow can steal the Elder Dragon. Oh, they're looking for an engage. Vector forced the pop. The Maokai ult, the Scout of the Week's going to end up landing onto nothing, but Steamroller is already a quarter HP, and Jinx is going to get the execute with the Super Mega Death Rocket, and that could open up this mid turret to falling from Valpo. Then they have Baron buff, so they might want to go for more. Yeah, heck, they might even want to just end the game, but Jakimbo trying to deny this with the wave clear, but he's going to get chunked to half HP from Syndra, and Blue Light not able to have the vision to be able to execute him over the wall. And in the meantime, Wenlong in this top lane has been an absolute menace, keeping the Malphite out of this fight. If anything, that Malphite engage not being there for Valpo is absolutely devastating and going in favor of Tiffin. Want to make more use of this Baron buff, as a nice stun's going to land on Jakimbo. The Unleashed power not nearly enough to execute, but they do force the flash out of that mid laner. And 50 seconds until the Elder Dragon comes online, and Lots, you know, not going to have that Unleashed. That Unleashed power might be back online, but not going to have much when it comes to resources, as King Julian is up 3 levels on Vector so far this game.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Looking like Valpo already moving into this jungle, but Jinx is going to be able to shove out this wave a lot faster in the mid lane than the Ashe will be able to. And right now, Tiffin, they want to move in here. They're not going to have their Malphite yet for Valpo, so they can't look to take river advantage. But the flash is going to come out from a pool and land a knockup onto Vector. They want to kill this jungler right away. And Wenlong, he's in the backline. He's looking to proc his passive and be an absolute menace. And they want to kill Jakimbo. Jakimbo not going to be able to fly away this time, as the knockup of the L-Star is going to come down as well. And they could just turn and go Elder Dragon, as they don't have a wave to end just yet. But they want to end the game anyway, as the gold lead is going to rise to 11k in favor of Tiffin, looking absolutely dominant so far in Game 3.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
I mean, honestly, Tiffin has the Elder Dragon. They could literally just force any fight. There's no way, I'm not seeing a way that Valpo can win a fight against Tiffin. So they just, honestly, just stack mid lane, force a fight, and win it, and then you just win the game. That's literally all they really have to do right now. they've got to be a little bit careful of the wave clear, but I mean, when you have a pool and Wenlong, you don't really have to worry too much about towers, and when you have a Trundle, the tower ain't gonna live for much long anyway. As a nice pillar's gonna come down. Triple stun so far into the members of Tiffin, but right now, they are winning this fight as King Julian gets the first pick off the Trundle. So Scout of the Week's gonna come down on the Dreadful, and then he's looking for the execute on to this Jakimbo, and he does end up falling. All 4 of them are gonna get Bard ulted, which is actually gonna be pretty funny. And this is looking in favor as Tiffin, as none of the members of Valpo are left standing. Well, I mean, 2 members are, but they're not gonna be doing nearly enough to defend this Nexus, and Tiffin is going to take this quarterfinals match in the best of 3 series 2-1. Yep, this is going to end up meaning that Valpo will be playing up against Concordia later on today, and Bethel versus Trine is our next losers bracket. That should be a pretty good one, as they're pretty close in the seedings. OU wins their game, and CSU also winning their game against Trine, obviously. So that's going to be a pretty good matchup later on today, as the number 2 and number 3 seeds. And then later on, we have the semifinals between Manchester University and Tiffin. But that is going to do it for this match. I'm not entirely sure which other ones are going to be streamed, so stick around for those. That should be going on a little bit later today.